podcast is intended for mature audiences. The views and opinions expressed are those of the panelists and do not reflect in any way those of the podcast partners, sponsors, or affiliates. Enjoy.
Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and you're listening to the voice of the people. Let's get ready for Boxing Voice.
Hey, Daddy, this is $1 beat.
ThaBoxingvoice.com.
No matter what nobody say, man, spirit, can't nobody fuck with me, man. You know, I can't be fucked with, you know.
Beyonce Productions.
Whether you pay to see me win, or you pay to see me lose, you're gonna pay. Fuck it, your kids still gotta eat. I don't have to watch, you know, any footage of a fighter. I mean, because I'm Floyd Mayweather, everybody gotta watch me. I knew eventually I was gonna have to fight Oscar. I feel like he was straight up and down, no special effects.
ThaBoxingvoice.com.
How can Canelo have the biggest deal? Your deal is for $300 million, and I made $350 million just in one fight. And you're fighting on the app.
ThaBoxingvoice.com.
I'm a king, okay? I eat a feast. Every time I eat a feast. And when I get up from the table, I don't give a fuck who get the leftovers. At the end of the day, follow my green print.
Beyonce Productions.
ThaBoxingvoice.com.
Good morning, TBV. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another morning edition with the Boxing Voice Radio jam-packed show. We got up-and-coming 130-pound contender, prospect/contender Albert Bell at 9:30 a.m. Should be via Skype doing video. And it's looking like he and Jermall Herring champion in the IBF, or is it the WBO? But he's a champion nonetheless, and they've been having a little back-and-forth Twitter spat. And it sounds like maybe I'm hearing rumors that this could be the fight that Jermall Herring has to do because Carl Frampton is in another country. That being said, we're actually here to discuss Chris Eubank Jr. and the coincidence that can turn out to be the key element in a win over Jermall Charlo. I don't know. Does Roy Jones solidify or ensure a win for Chris Eubank? It would be Roy going up against the legendary, world-renowned Ronnie Shields, who trains Jermall Charlo, the WBC 160-pound champion. Could this be a unification? I know that Chris, I believe, has the IBO. If not, it is Gennady Golovkin. But this is what we're talking about. The fact that Roy Jones is now training Chris Eubank Jr. And I want to give you the backstory, how this came to be. Very interesting and very intriguing. It ties into COVID. So we'll bring it back, but let me get out to some of these co-hosts from around the world. Heading out to Corpus Christi, Texas.
It's me, Mario.
What is up? What is up? If you're listening, please smash the like. Please hit the notification so you can know. I'm just going to give you a little hint about today. We are going to be live. I know we're live right now, but we're going to be live a lot. So it's going to keep on happening. Smash the subscribe button and rock out with us from today and on. What up, Doomy and Reek?
I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. Lynch is a conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody like me. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from their claw. There's no one that can match.
Chip. Good morning, y'all. Yeah, Eubank is training with the famous, slick, hard speed, fast hitting, all that good stuff. Yeah, maybe I'm excited about it, but I don't know if it does too much. We're going to take on this topic, I guess, this morning. I didn't really know this was going to be the one, so I'll just put my 2 cents in it. Get your cup of coffee ready. If you're across the pond, get your cup of tea ready, and let's rock out.
What's up, man? Yeah, I just want to say I saw fight 2.
Stay focused, stay working my day.
I saw fight 2.
Boxing voice. Because if he comes to fight, then I'm going to have to look for him.
I saw the fight too.
I think you accurate.
Yes. Yes. Always accurate. Yes. 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 Good morning, Jesus. Thank you, Father. Stretch my arms another day. Let's get out this Groundhog Day, right? Well, anyway, topic back on track. Chris Eubank Jr. still hopes to challenge Jermall Charlo for that WBC title this year and has maintained his training regime while he awaits his next fight. So what's the dilly, though?
What's the dilly,
Somebody knows this cryptic message which we've been throwing around.
Oh, why is everything cryptic now? What's going on?
Because everything is like behind the scenes COVID-19 kind of news.
Yo, you know, I'm telling you, you are becoming more and more of a badass at this, really. Look, you're right. It isn't cryptic, but it does have to do with COVID. As the story goes, as legend goes, Chris Eubank was in Las Vegas partying it up. Nah. Chris Eubank was in Las Vegas and he was training at the Mayweather Promotions gym. And, you know, he went to a PBC fight. It just so happened that Roy Jones was at that PBC fight, simultaneously training Kevin Newman III, and he and Chris Eubank got to link up. And it wasn't nothing more than, what's up, picked his brain 5 or 10 minutes, took a few pictures, kept it moving. Fast forward a few weeks, they get smacked with COVID, or we get smacked with COVID. He's in Vegas, kind of stranded. Everyone's out. Hotels are closing. Casinos shut down. Flights are about to stop flying. He puts in the call to his dad, like, Dad, I might as well leave. There's nothing to do here. I came here to train and hit the strip. And the strip is closed, and I won't be able to train. Matter of fact, when I spoke to Roy, he said he had a farm in Pensacola, Florida. Hit him up, see if I could go train with him. Bro, an hour later, his father hits him back. Roy said, yeah, he jumps on a flight. He in Pensacola. And he's been training with Roy ever since. So we talking about 2 months in lockdown with Roy Jones Jr. You know, now, I'm not going to get too excited because this is the issue. Roy's trained people before. John Pascal, Kevin Newman, Joel Diaz.
Supreme Patty.
I don't know that this makes a difference, and I don't know that this makes a difference when we're talking about Chris Eubank facing Jermall Charlo, but that is the question. Before you answer it, check out these videos and tell me what you think of the leaked footage of Roy and Chris Eubank already working out. In one, he's doing some movement, as you can see, and they're working on movement. You know what I'm saying? Everything Roy does is with a rhythm, but watching Eubank try to mimic him, he's just not there yet, but he gets it. Okay. Look at that head movement. Uh-oh, that's dodging that Charlo jab, baby. We dodging that Charlo jab.
You see them dance moves?
We dodging that Charlo jab. Here we go.
There you go.
Oh, shit. My man from the UK got some swag. Yo, so that's just movement, but then this is the one I really wanted to show you. Cover your ears, because it's gunshots. I guess I gotta unmute it.
He's teaching them good head movement right now.
Who got the gun out?
Oh, that's the Roy Jones famous double left hook.
Let's go, champ. That got some pop on it. I'm just saying. Is he picking things up? Will this make a difference versus a Jermall Charlo? That is the question.
I'll be honest with you. Now looking at it, Eubank's always been a real explosive fighter, and he's young, he's strong, he's fast. I think a little bit of Roy Jones and mixed with some Chris Eubank, it's dangerous, man. You see that double left hook? Yo, Roy Jones used to catch cats with that all the time, bro. Double left hook, fast.
Yeah, I'll say this. Look, if the question would have simply been, could Roy Jones as a trainer taking on Chris Eubank Jr. be enough to take him to that level to beat a Jermall Charlo, which I had Jermall Charlo winning that fight no matter what, ever since, before, after, whatever. The answer would have been no. But the fact that you're telling me, and I've read the story just now, that he is isolated with Roy Jones Jr., that he's actually in not just a camp, but almost in like a boot camp situation, that speaks volumes. Listen, we could say that Roy Jones has trained people all we want. Has Roy Jones ever had like a Robert Garcia type camp? You know what I'm saying? With Robert Garcia, he's had his fighters live with them, eat with them, watch TV with them, train with them, obviously, and all that. Like, I don't think he's ever had anybody like that. This is big. This is a huge difference.
This is what I'm gonna say. I got a casual perspective right now. I'm not too savvy on Chris Eubank at all. I know Roy Jones styles cannot be simulated. You can rehearse them in sparring and look great on a Cobra bag, as Abner Mata says, but the real deal is in the ring. I need to do some more review, or maybe, one of you guys could convince me that Chris Eubanks can give it to Jermall Charlo, even though they're ranked close to each other on rankings, different under different sanctioning bodies. But, I don't know enough of Chris Eubank to judge him. But Roy Jones in his corner as a strategist developing a Chris Eubank style, of course, giving him new Roy Jones style type rhythm. I
don't know if that's enough to take out Charlo either. I mean, it's gonna help. It's gonna help. It's gonna help if you put, and it's like, when you coach somebody, and I mean, and coming from a guy like Roy, who's a champ, you don't try to make that person, a duplicate of yourself. You try to just kind of give them little things that kind of worked for yourself, and then you let him, the fighter that is your training, make it his. I still don't think it's enough though. Like for Charlo, I really don't. I really don't think it's enough because thing is with Eubank, he gets sloppy at times. He gets real crazy. You know what I'm saying? He gets it in these like firefights, and when you dealing with a guy like Jermall, sniper, you know what I'm saying, coming up the middle with that uppercut, I just see him making a mistake.
Yo, but I will say this. Roy's, I'm not going to say his style, but his approach to fighting was like, it was like, man, how can I put this? It was like not beautiful chaos, but like very, very structured chaos. You know what I'm saying? And I agree with you with Chris Eubank Jr. and his style and his approach and how wild he's been in the past. But if he were to be able to impart that on him, it's almost like a new fighter. It's almost like a different fighter. If he were to able to impart that. And that's not about, teaching him to be Roy Jones, because I absolutely agree. People need to teach a fighter how to be their best version of themselves. But to be able to impart that wisdom and to be able to impart that kind of approach, that's big time.
Yo, so I didn't throw this out there for y'all, but I want to see if maybe you guys seen it on your own. Did you catch Jermall Charlo's Ringside with the Lions episode of Grandma's House?
Nah.
I saw it. It was on my recommendations.
Yeah, I haven't finished it. Last I checked, it was at 64,000. Yo, I like what he's doing. I like that he's doing his own little YouTube series, and it definitely gives you a different light into him. I mean, he's on the farm, and like the way he's with the animals and his cousins, like it's pretty dope, man. It's pretty dope. And the fact that he says, I'm gonna be able to do all this for grandma because of boxing. It was just like, damn, that's beautiful, man. This dude is living out his dream, and he's killing it, bro. And he's buying his grandmother like a mobile home, right? And it's because she doesn't want, he's like, I want to build that house, but like, this is all she knows. She's from the country. She's always lived in a mobile home. So he got her some, I haven't
Exclusive.
finished. Yeah, I haven't finished it, but he got us some exclusive mobile home.
A decked out mobile home.
I'm in the part of the episode where him and his boys is like making $100 bet because he's like, yo, my grandmother's is as big as one of those, and that one is like 16 by 70, or 16 by 60. So his passenger is like, nah, no way. That's like 100. Call your grandmother. Call your grandmother. So they call her grandmother, and it's pretty cool, man.
Send the link, man.
Yeah, I will. Pretty cool. Again, I'm very, very happy that he's doing that because you get a different look. Like, I mean, he went in there. First of all, for me, I know maybe I'm shallow. Maybe I'm the one that's shallow, but for me, it made me see how down to earth he is, right? Like, he wasn't expecting to feed no horses, and then he just fell in love with the horse. So his cousin's like, you gonna really come in there? And he's like, yeah. And all I could think of is, I bet you he got some $1,000 shoes on. He about to go in the pen, and and he did, and he went in there, and he ain't had no issues. But he says a lot of little funny things, man. Like, just like when he was about to feed the horse, like, man, got to be careful. He might kick you. Little things. So it's like, yo, you get to see a different light of Charlo. And I'm talking Jermall, even though this show is about Jermall. But yeah, maybe they featured Jermall. I think I seen him in one scene in the living room. But yeah, man, them kids is or the men are doing their thing. They are really doing their thing, man. Sheesh. That's a hell of a life.
Definitely. They're super blessed. Yo, so this thing, I'm not gonna lie, I've seen like decked out trailers, like, yo, they're dope. Like, for real. Like, I could see myself like one day like living in one, like traveling and stuff, and like not even missing a home, because see myself like one day like crazy. Living in one, like traveling and stuff,
My bad. I was
all
trying
good.
to check
All
something.
good.
Go ahead, you good?
But yeah, no. I was just saying, like, yeah, man, they're super dope, and yeah, I could see why. I mean, I'm not sure where she's from. I know they're from Houston. I mean, I guess there's some spots that I could imagine somebody. I mean, yeah, I mean, look, people grow up in mobile homes too, so it's not like a thing or nothing. But it's like the country that makes me think that she might not be from Houston, because there's other spots in Texas where.
Yeah, no, she's in Louisiana. I think he said she's
okay. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I think they're in Louisiana with that episode. You know what I mean? But hold your ears.
Okay, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I think. All right. Just trying to
hold your horses.
Holding it down on that side.
Nah, but going back to Eubank and Roy, how long they been together already, locked in?
About 2 months, bro. Since
2 months?
Since March. Since March.
That's an 8-week camp right there.
Yeah, beginning of March.
But that's the thing, though. See, that's my whole point about it. It's not even like an 8-week camp in a sense, because if you think about a camp, you got to think about, losing weight. You got to think about, like conditioning and stuff. They're not getting ready for a fight anytime soon. And once they do, yeah, exactly, bro. It's like an academy, dude. Like, imagine you get Roy Jones Jr. one-on-one. I'm assuming it's probably one-on-one, because I mean it is COVID. One-on-one, right, for 2 months, just straight boxing. And maybe he's doing his miles, I'm sure, and it's probably hurting that they can't really get sparring in. But all that can come, like, the simple fact of being able to take your fighter around with mitts, with rope work, with up downs, with not pad work, with shadow boxing, all that kind of stuff, to be able to just be hands on like that for 2 months. Whoa. I mean, we could be looking at a different Chris Eubank Jr. when he comes back, a better version, I'm saying.
Definitely, man. This is why I decided, like, yo, this is something to talk about. And now, respectively and equally, Jermall has a great trainer, and I guess the upside with him is that he hasn't been jumping around. Some see that as a kind of a, I don't know, maybe a setback, because you haven't been able to fully, be in sync with one guy, where Jermall's been with one guy from the beginning. I mean, Ronnie brought both of those twins up. So, does Ronnie and Jermall, are they more in sync when the going gets tough in the ring? Can Jermall hear Ronnie a lot clearer than Chris will be able to soak in Roy's information during the fight? I mean, again, we talk about when trainers get together all the time how they don't have enough time with a certain fighter. Like, is Roy that great of a trainer that Eubank should go straight into a Charlo fight with no camp with Roy? Like, yes, this will be that one camp. Obviously this is a pre-camp. If he gets the Charlo call for real, like we assume, then they go into an 8-week, 10-week training camp. But they didn't have that one fight. Roy didn't have that one fight to sit on the outside and watch him and see, was he able to execute anything he taught him. He's going to have to watch that and experience that live versus Charlo, which is a dangerous opponent.
Yeah,
the tune-up. I'm going to be back, man. I got to take a 30-minute Zoom call for my daughter's school.
Do your thing, champy champ.
Zoom.
Yeah. Oh, peace.
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Capoeira, mata. No, that's exactly what I was gonna say too, Ness. Like, yeah, he just, how it is. You're building him up with a new kind of new little style, or you're giving him new tools or whatnot. You want to be able to have like a tune-up fight. That's what I wanted for Triple G. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm not mad at him really. Him taking Schmerta, because you need to develop what you've learning. And it's hard to do that when you're facing a high level opponent. Chris Eubank might need a tune-up before jumping in with a guy like Jermall, unless Chris Eubank, I'm not saying he's a hot-headed guy, but he's a gun-ho. I'll take on him. I'll do it. So it's gonna be up to Roy as a coach to kind of guide him through this.
All right, we got about one more minute. Really quick, Mario. We got one more minute before we get Albert Bell in the 130-pound division. If you haven't done so already, head on over to patreon.com and join us. For as little as $3, you'll be able to get in on all the activities. Not only that, but you get to ask Mr. Bell a question. I'm actually pulling it up here. I thought I put this in here. Yes, no, let me see. Go ahead, Mario, I'm done.
Yo, so what I was going to say is, look, no coach wants to go in with a fighter for the first time into a big fight. I don't think there's any such thing as a good enough trainer to do that. I think it's all about whether or not you feel comfortable and how comfortable you feel. I think some people could gel well enough that they would go into a big fight, but I think you ask most trainers and they would suggest, or they would prefer to have a softer touch as the first fight, but when you have somebody as experienced as Chris Eubank Jr., obviously it would only take one fight, and it might not even take one fight, but I would suggest that it would take one fight. And we've had trainers say that, there's a difference between that. There's a difference between going in there with a guy who you've had in training camp and then going in there with him in the ring. It's almost like a new experience. I mean, it is a new experience. You know what I mean? Even though both those men have done that plenty of times, cornering, fighting, coming back to your corner and exchanging all the, verbiage and all the knowledge and imparting strategy and all that, you still want that fight before the big fight. So, I think that right now it's like, it's just the perfect scenario, I think, for them coming back from COVID, knowing that it's unlikely that they're going to get these big fights right away.
Well, I'm adding Mr. Bell to the call. So,
and he is there. No, he's not. My bad.
I'm over here. Let me see.
Oh, there he is. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I got it now. Bam.
All right. How you doing? Again, good morning to you. I'm Albert Bell. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good.
How's COVID treating you, brother?
Like everybody else, very boring. But I just been chilling, man. That's for the most part, trying to stay out the way of everything.
Definitely. So, what are you able to do, if anything at all, in terms of staying in shape and boxing training specifically?
I've been doing everything except for sparring. All the gyms up here is on lockdown to the 28th. But we got a private gym in the garage that's built, you know, and my father's my coach. So we go back to the roots and get it in, you know. And then outside always open, so you can always go running.
Well, speaking of training, you know, some back and forth with Jermall Herring has suggested that you might be in line for that fight that they've been talking about. Top Rank has suggested that he's going to be the first fight out in June. What can you tell us about that?
No. Shakur gonna be the first fight out in June. I think they got.
Oh, that's right.
They got him scheduled to go for July, I believe. But
okay.
Yeah, I'm definitely in one of the potential names in line for it. I got the call for the opportunity last Thursday, I believe. I agreed to it immediately. They said it was on them now. They might offer him a couple other names or whatnot, but I'm not really sure. But I did my part and accepted it. So we just waiting to hear what's up with that, you know.
Albert, what's going on, brother? It's Alex here.
How you doing, Alex?
Pretty good, man. Just wanted to, you know, just a question, just, you know, just regarding to the fights you've had. You know, I was a fan of Andy Vance's, man, and you were able to defeat him, and you made me, not that you needed any of my approval, but you definitely made me a believer after that. What is, at all your fights so far, which one has been the toughest?
The toughest, I would have to say Vince's. You know, it was challenging. You know, we both had our moments. You know, and that was my first 10-round fight going that stretch. And plus, he was an undefeated fighter. I was on the West Coast. You know, under the bright lights. You know, and coming in as an underdog, which I haven't been in my pro career yet. So, it was fun. It was exciting. I liked it for a change.
Cool.
So I want to get to the nitty gritty with you and Herring, because Herring says something that stuck out to me. He's like, let me pull it up here so I won't misquote him. He basically said, I'm about to train and spar with Terrence Bud Crawford for the next 6 to 7 weeks, bruh. I'll be fine and ready. So that to me did stick out, man, because, you know,
like he was hitting at me.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I mean, how can you be worried about anyone else if, you know, the person that's sharpening you is Terrence? Like, Terrence is a very skilled guy. You know, everyone speaks highly of his work ethic. We know from what people say that he doesn't indulge in the, you know, hanging out. And so, I mean, you got this guy in there with one of the best, who people consider pound for pound, helping him stay motivated. I don't know. How does that make you feel? And I guess what's your counter to that? Who are you with? And why don't you care that he's training with Crawford? Crawford obviously can't get in the ring with him, but why don't you care?
I wouldn't say I don't care, you know, but it doesn't make no difference to me, you know. He's Jamil Herring at the end of the day. I'm Albert Bell at the end of the day. We in all spar war. That's when I hit back with him I think it was a different part of the thread, but we've all been training with our world champions ever since we was younger, you know what I mean? I'd have been under the Mike Tysons, the Evander Holyfields, the Floyd Mayweathers, you know, and I'd have sparred all types of other world champions and world-class fighters, but at the end of the day, the fighters, we fighters, you know what I mean, what's in your DNA and what are you going to do, you know what I mean? But that's the type of stuff that gets me up in the morning. It gets me excited because I know I got to work hard. Can't let nobody outwork me. I know he got a whole camp full of all of them. I know all them guys out there. I got good relationships with them as well, you know. But it's just something, you know, that fuels the fire.
It's got to be a tough spot, though, right? Because it's like you said it yourself. You did your part, right? You accepted the fight. And it's like, how long you got to wait until you find out whether or not they accept and stuff? You know what I mean? Like, why not just say, like, I accept this fight or I accept that fight right away? I mean, do you feel like maybe he's weighing his options because some of the words on social media might have struck a chord with him? Maybe things might be a little too dangerous right now?
Who knows? But you can't really say nothing too dangerous when you're a world champion. You know, you go from the hunter to being the hunted. You know, we got that top spot. Everybody's coming for you. So you go to be when you turn pro as a fighter. You know what I mean? When you turn into a professional fighter, you putting yourself in the shoes to say I'm willing to fight or beat anybody in the world. if that's your goal to become a world champion. And when you a world champion, you can't think of people that's too dangerous or that if you're a true fighter at heart. But it's definitely an anxious feeling. It's like standing on pins and needles, because you ready, because you got, like, that's huge news for me, you know what I mean, to tell my family and friends and people that I got a world title shot, but I can't say it just yet because I don't know. So all I can do is prepare myself and keep praying on the blessing that it comes and just keep going. But if it doesn't happen now, it is what it is. I'm just going to keep sticking the cord and stepping one fight at a time and keep doing what I got to do. That's all I can do is do what Albert Bell can do.
You said
Absolutely.
something. You said that they probably gave him other names. So did they give you other names that you were able to accept?
Not this time. The other time they did, but they just they called it because we were actually. My manager was getting ready to set up a card, probably like out of town somewhere, something like that. And they was like, "I'm gonna call TR today, see if we could try to work something." Boom, boom, boom. But before he could do that, he got a call like, what do y'all think about fighting Jermall here? He called me. I told him he accepted before he even called me, but he already knew what time I was gonna be on. You know what I mean? I'm on that type of time. Like, let's get it. You know what I mean? Like, but it's not a personal thing against Jermall. You know what I mean? My goal is to be a world champion. Ever since I was a baby, I come from a fighting family. My brothers was boxers, my dad, whatever the case may be. So I was raised in the gym. So to the time I could talk, I wanted to be a world champion. So whatever name they came with in my weight class that for the title shot, I was accepted. You know what I mean? It just happened to be him, and that makes sense. So let's rock and roll. I'm just waiting to hear something, man.
Now, that's the one thing I did know about you, that you do come from a fighting family and your family has influenced you. So what's it going to be like to not have that crowd there, to not be able to feed off that energy, because obviously you get the fight, that fight's happening without fans?
I've been traveling off away from my company. From my family and friends since I was a little kid, man. Going across the country to national tournaments. These last few fights been on the West Coast. They ain't all the way financially able to make it to. I can fly out who I fly out, but it is what it is. It's a fight, man. If it was just us two in the backyard, it's for that. It's what's at stake, and I know what's at stake. Ain't nobody in there but you anyways. You could get motivation from other stuff, but like a lot of times, sometimes the crowd be against you, just how it was with the Garcia situation. You got to do what you got to do at the end of the day. No excuses.
Good answer.
Yeah, man. Are you preparing for that though? For fighting without crowds? Is that something that they've talked to you about, or you just doesn't really matter?
I just assume that's how it's gonna be. You know what I mean? But to be honest, that's cool with me. I'd be more relaxed that way.
Now, Bob Arum specifically said no one's indispensable when it comes to wanting more during this time. Do you understand that there may be a pay cut because there is no audience now?
Hey, whatever it comes, you know what I mean? The money, you get the title, the money gonna come.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Like what Floyd did, he wasn't worried about the money at the beginning. When he was pressing him, fight me, until he got to his world title shot. Then he became the money man. But you got to do what you got to do. You got to put your footwork in and get to where you got to go.
Man, somebody was ready for this interview this morning. You giving all types of great answers. I'm just a well-spoken young man. You very much are. I'll second that. Listen, we keep talking about, fanless fights and all that, but the real nitty gritty is why they have to be fanless fights and what's going on with this pandemic. And, I'm not sure how much you paid attention to the UFC or not, but obviously it was all over the news and I'm sure you're aware of some of it. What are your concerns heading into a bout like that, as far as testing and all that? I mean, do you feel comfortable in your promoters and your team to, make sure everything's right on that side?
Most definitely. I got faith and trust into my management, my team, my training staff, and as well as the promotional company and wherever venue that we're fighting in, that they're going to follow all the procedures and precautions to make sure that everything goes how it's supposed to and accordingly, and when nobody gets sick or whatever the case may be. But it sucks. It got to be like that with no fans, but we got to understand it's bigger than sports. and people are losing their lives and getting sick around the world from this virus that we all trying to overcome and beat as humanity and as a whole. So, it got to be done. It sucks that it be like this, but I do trust that they'll do the right things, and it's what's best.
We have Patreon questions. There's questions from our smartest, I guess, and most intelligent listeners. So, they're going to be good questions. But before we get to those, the one thing real quick, though, I want to ask is, so you head into this fight, right? And we keep debating on whether or not, because everybody's in quarantine, it's more exposure. And you have to believe that there's going to be more eyes on you now than there would be. That's at least my point of view. I think that. Does that add any more pressure? Do you think about that kind of thing at all? And realize that, everybody's going to be at home for the most part. And it could be a big chance for you, not just for the title, but, to blow up for real.
Yeah, everything happens how it's supposed to. That's how I believe. You know what I mean? If this was God's intentions to get people eyes open and wake them up, then, for my career, then I'm all for it. But I know it's just me and him in there, and that's what it's about. So if I prepare how I'm supposed to and do what I got to do in there and keep doing that in the ring, regardless, I'm going to become who I need to be. Whether it's 20 people watching now and 20,000 people watching tomorrow. I done fought in venues where it was, I was last year fighting in places that had 300 people to fighting in on Tyson Fury undercard. That's just know how the boxing work. You stay ready and got to get ready. The day you lay off, the day they pay off, man.
So, Mr. Bell, today we were discussing the fact that because of COVID-19, Chris Eubank found himself kind of stranded in Las Vegas. He was training at the, Mayweather gym, but they were shutting that down because this happened to him right when COVID hit. He put in a call to his dad, and he ends up in the Pensacola, Florida, training with Roy Jones. Mm-hmm. And we're just throwing around the debate of what does Roy bring to the game as far as a trainer for Chris Eubank, and is that element going to be enough to get him a win versus a Jermall Charlo? Because it seems like that's what Showtime wants in terms of Charlo versus Eubank. How do you see that fight, and how much of a factor is Roy Jones?
Shout out to both of them. I ran into Chris Eubank, matter of fact, when I was just out there in Vegas, when I was training for the Vicious fight. We was on the same heavy bag out there for like 10 rounds straight. So shout out to him, man. Roy Jones is my favorite fighter of all time. I got a lot of fighters all the time as I grew up and got older, but coming up, that was the man, you know what I mean? And I actually hear him coaching some of the fighters. I caught his last fight when he coached Kevin Newman in the corner. And I seen him training with the Devin Haney's and a few other fighters. So I see he's an intelligent coach, as far as IQs. And plus, it's just certain intangibles, that he can give you pointers on and things like that, because he didn't reach the highest peaks of the sports multiple times. Just how you get great pointers from Floyd Mayweather, etc. They might be established Hall of Fame level coaches, but they got something that they always bring an X factor to your game, you know what I mean? And plus, they could show you things that push them past and get them in peak shape that they actually used to be hands-on doing, you know what I mean? Or where they came up short at, where they felt like they could, you know what I mean? You could push people harder than that. So I think it's going to be a good thing, and I know they train hard at Pensacola. There's a lot of, it's country out there away. You ain't got nothing but focus on training going on out there. So I think it'll be good. Chris Eubank could fight. The Charlo could definitely fight. It's gonna be a good fight, but give Roy a shot. He might do it for him.
Yo, how much do you think that it benefits a fighter? Like, I mean, obviously you're a hard worker, and all fighters, are hard workers, in varying degrees, obviously. But how much of a benefit is it to be a fighter essentially trapped with your trainer for a month, 2 months, where, they have you have him all to yourself, and you're able to, extract so much information and knowledge at one point? I mean, is that different from a regular training camp?
That's like a teacher giving you homework and sending you home with it versus you staying at the teacher's house. You're gonna pass that test. I think it's not easy, you know what I mean? But then it's like, really time to slack. You know what I mean? It reminded me of something like the Mickey and Rocky movie. You know what I mean? Like Mickey beyond Rocky. I mean, so I think it'd be the same like that. And then it's just like, like I just know how it be. Like when I'm hitting the bag or something, if I catch a certain person looking at me, I'm gonna go harder. So just think of Roy Jones Jr. watching you hit. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, because you still idolize these guys, you know what I mean? Because these are the people you grew up with. So you want to see them throwing your best stuff so they're like, they believe in you. You know what I mean? They know you really putting it in. So I think that's going to, man, that's beautiful. You know what I mean? You can go hard.
Man,
Great minds think alike. Great minds think alike, because I've been saying the same thing for the combination of Andy Ruiz with Eddie Reynoso. Now that the fact that Canelo's in that camp, you got Oscar Valdez, former champ in that camp, Ryan Garcia, all those followers, potential champ.
Feed off of it.
Exactly, but my listeners are like, nah, that ain't gonna mean nothing. If he's not disciplined, no one's gonna make. I'm like, bro, you're gonna be embarrassed to be the dude that doesn't work as hard as everyone else in that kind of world-class gym. But I'm glad you said that. We got a couple more for you. Looks like Victor Banuelos says Canelo Alvarez versus Jermall Charlo. Who wins and why?
I think Canelo is the most complete fighter in the sport right now. To be honest, he's pound for pound number one, if not two, up there for me. So I don't really see nobody beating him unless they just knock him out. You know what I mean? Or they have to be a pure boxer to beat Canelo Alvarez. And I think he edges Charlo.
And what do you think makes him complete? Because, we got listeners that'll call in. Like, we did an immediate reaction when Canelo knocks out Kovalev, moves up 2 division, knocks out Kovalev. People like, oh, Kovalev threw that fight. Oh, he's old.
He got that sauce, man. It's like, he's a Mexican style fighter, but he's like a Black American fighter as well. Like the way he slip, his defense, like how he rolls. And then he could walk you down. He could box. He could box off the ropes. He got great punching power. He got good speed for his size and weight class. His reflexes are amazing. He got the complete package. The only thing is he probably tip-top conditioning sometimes. It feel like he lapses just a little bit in certain rounds, but you never know. But that's probably the energy expended. But he got it all. He could do it all. He got sauce, man. The man's great.
All right. We got George Foster in the UK says, who do you think would have won between Herring and Frampton?
Herring and Frampton. I really don't know. That's a good fight. I just was front row. I was above front row. I was in the barricade when Frampton just fought my younger brother Tyler McCrory. And I've been around Jamil ever since we was like younger. You know what I mean? But it's an interesting fight. You don't know what. It's hard to say what a man gonna do in them type of fights when you got a 50-50 type fight like that. It's all comes down to them. So I really didn't know how that fight was gonna play out, to be honest. I know Jamil's a lot longer and bigger, but I know Frampton got that real experience. But I'd probably give it to Jermall just only because they both kind of older, you know what I mean? But he's fresher, you know what I mean? But I go with Jermall.
He's taking less damage too, I think.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's what I mean. He's a fresher fighter.
Yeah.
We have Israel in Oklahoma says, good morning, Albert. Thanks for coming on the Boxing Voice. Shout out to Ohio boxers. Our caller of the year is from Cincinnati. When next in Oklahoma, lunch on me. So just an invitation to have a good old
much love, and I'm going to take them up on that. I like to eat, especially when camp.
We got Sony in New York says, good morning, Mr. Bell. Hope all is well with you. Stay. Okay. I like to follow all Ohio boxers up and coming to mainstream. You do Ohio proud with your embellished record. With that said, I hope to pose a question that allows you to let your guard down. Not literally, though. Question, are you... he loves this question. Are you a fan of the Wu-Tang Clan, and are they worthy of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Hashtag Ohio Runs Boxing.
Man, tell them I appreciate all that, and definitely what they say, woo, dang, woo. You know what I mean? Them the guys, man, especially like growing up in that... I'm a 90s baby, so growing up there, that's when they was, you know what I mean? We grew up off the, Wu-Tang, especially Method Man and Red Man and all of them, How Highs and them joining all the Chappelle shows, coming up doing the black trade versus white trade. So we gonna be so ODB, I definitely listen to Wu-Tang, and we definitely got to give them the Rock and Roll for the fan because they was trendsetting.
Definitely. We have Big Casual that says, "What's good, champ? Under which sanctioning body do you feel you will get your first title shot?"
We talking about this fight, so hopefully WBO, God willing, you know what I mean.
That's
but any of them would do. But it look like we headed for the WBO first, so be it.
Perfect. We have the Earthquake that says, "Salute, champ. Bud versus Spence. Who you got?"
That's a 50-50. I'm actually good with both of them guys. I've been knowing Earl for years and been in camps with him and go kick it with him, all that type of stuff when we're out and about. Terrence, me and him just met like a few years, like these past 2 years, but we didn't run into each other a lot of times at the top ranked cards and stuff. But they both really just great fighters. It's just who the better man that night, given that Earl didn't lose a step coming off his accident. God willing, he didn't. But Earl is a real strong fighter coming in. Terrence is slick, can box, can do both. They both, I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's gonna just it comes down to who's gonna be the better man that night. But I really didn't pick. I just would love to enjoy that fight as a fan.
Well, that is.
I was right there when they ran into each other.
Oh yeah,
that was my top rank debut. I was right there, I just went on the camera because I didn't want to be too, but I was right there. Like the coaches that was arguing in the mix and stuff. If you go back to that video, they got on blue team Prince Bill outfits and arguing. I was right there. I was right there for that history. I was just looking.
Nice. Real quick, let me insert something. Going back a few questions. Listen, obviously because of these times, it seems like you're gonna be your career is gonna move a little faster. You know what I mean? You're on a faster track. Do you think that that's probably going to happen with a lot of guys, where we're going to see guys fast track because of fights that can't happen or should happen, and guys are going to move a little faster now?
Possibly, and I know these guys, these promoters paying their guys, so they're going to have to fight, probably their other guys. You get what I'm saying? They're not about to be putting all this extra money to bring in opponents from here and there, and they can't because a lot of these opponents come from the Brazils, the Colombias, the DRs, et cetera, and there's travel bans on them, so it's going to be a lot of infighting right here in America, so that's a lot of prospects on prospects if they signed with a promotional company because you wouldn't be signed with them, you know what I mean? They're not signed a bump, so it's going to be some fights that's going to have to happen because fights not going to happen, and it could be a blessing in disguise for some, or it could be a disaster for one if they're not ready for what this game come with, but you're going to have to fight, and so definitely there's going to be some big opportunities come in. To unexpected people.
We got another one from James Valdez that says, "In your opinion, do you see Leo Santa Cruz having a shot beating Tank when and if they do fight?"
It's gonna be a stretch because I just you can hit Leo Santa Cruz. You know what I mean? He comes in, he don't stop punching, but he's there to get hit. You know what I mean? If he if he could take Tank's power and get to like wearing him on late and can able to stay on him like that, then possibly. But Tank is the much bigger man in that fight, stronger man. Like I said, Leo Santa Cruz, 126 coming up. We all know Tank walks around real heavy and he's cutting that weight down, so he's gonna be a much bigger man in there, and he cracking like that, So it'd be interesting to see.
I just wanted to ask real quick, you've been doing this for a long time since you was a young man. Did you face any of these guys in your division in the amateurs?
Well, which guys? I fought a lot of people. I fought damn near everybody for the most part. But notable names, I didn't know. Man, I fought Jose Ramirez. I fought Damon Allen, Kenneth Sims. What's the other prospects? Toka Khan Clary. Let me see. I fought a lot of people there. I have almost about 200 amateur fights, and I had my first fight when I was 8. So I didn't fought. If they around my weight class were from 140, 126 through 130s, I didn't fought them before. Almost fought them or was about to fight them. Me and Tank didn't fight. We both won the National Golden Gloves. I won it at 132. He won it at 123.
Yeah. Hell of a lot of good experience, man.
Man, I'd have fought man. I can't even name off the back. I had so many fights, man. I'd have fought a lot of fighters. A lot of them.
Bro, all I'm going to tell you is this, all right? Because I'm not the smartest dude in the world, and I'm definitely not a fortune teller. But I can say that I know you'll be ready come fight time, but be ready for that commentating gig coming too, bro, because that's going to come too. I'm telling you. I promise you.
I need all the bags, man. I need all of it, man. But
you're too good at this, man.
I would like that because I really can analyze fights good. Like when I watch fights and stuff, and I make people understand like what's going on, not just outside the punching. You know what I mean? I can articulate it well. So
that's the hardest part.
That'd be dope. That'd be dope.
It's coming. It's coming.
Well, Mr. Bell, man, I want to thank you, obviously, for coming on the show. If you can, please give out any social media for anyone who is following you or isn't following you can do so.
Correct. And I appreciate y'all for having me this morning. It's an honor. But y'all can reach me on Instagram at Albert Prince Bell, all one word. Facebook, Albert Prince Bell, and Twitter at Albert Bell 419. Hit me up on there. I got y'all.
All right, champ, man. We're definitely looking to get you back on as soon as you get the confirmation from Herring or anyone else for that matter, because if he doesn't take it, we still want to know which way you decide to go. Once again, thank you for your time, and we'll get you back on soon.
Most definitely. Thanks. I'll definitely come back.
Peace, champ.
All right, brother. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Up and coming prospect contender, Albert Bell. He actually got himself out. So we can go to callers. Anybody want to get final thoughts before we open up these phone lines?
Yeah, I just want to say, pardon myself for Albert Bell interview. I don't really know, Albert Bell, so I didn't want to just come in reckless questioning.
Came under the radar, Albert Bell. 200 fights. He's just coming under the radar. Like,
oh, okay.
Yeah, remember we interviewed Jermall Herring the other day. We kept calling him Jamal. Me and you. Remember?
No, that was you and Doomy.
Oh, that was me and Doomy. My bad. Yeah, well, you remember us? You remember we interviewed him though, right?
He said he perfect.
You remember we interviewed him, obviously, and right now it looks like our man Albert Bell could get the shot at Herring next for the fight in July. So yeah, that's who he is. So you're gonna figure him out. You're gonna find him out pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean
we're gonna find out a lot of fighters pretty soon. That,
yeah, you're right.
Who just entered the arena of fame real quick because of this COVID. But I want to shout somebody out. Dazn. Damn, I don't know his last name. I don't want to give his whole government out, but I think he goes by Mr. 704.
Yeah. He said you should be sending out a shirt to him.
Yeah. Oh, he called you, text you, son?
Nah. He said it on the live stream yesterday. He was like, "Yo, I should be getting my casual shirt."
Oh yeah, my man ordered a Boxing Voice logo, right? And he ordered a Keep Back 6 Feet shirt. You know what I mean? Going to North Carolina, Charlotte, real quick. So shout out to him. Thank you. That made my day.
Bruh, I went to Home Depot and they had that on a tag, like 6 feet back.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, look at they stole Enrique's stuff. I'm about to get him over here.
Now the weather right, you know what I'm saying? I'm aware, have some in the trunk like I did the other day. That works.
Hustle, man.
Where you get that at? Unemployment ain't kicking. I'm making like $90 a week on T-shirts.
Bro, they said unemployment backed up for everybody.
Yo, unemployment backed up forever, I think, man.
Yeah, my best friend, Kuwita, he's been just every week he just has to do it, but he don't get no money. I told you the other day.
He's at that step. I'm at the step where it's like, yo, status pending.
Nah, he's already. I think he's past pending. He gets to file. You claim every week, but he ain't received nothing from what he's saying.
They're gonna send him a big check then.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping, man. They send me a big ass check.
They said that in the bill, and I might not, because I don't want to say this because I saw this on a podcast, and now that I don't remember which one, I don't know if I should even say it, but I heard that there's a date in the bill that certain monies have to be allocated. So, I wish they would tell everybody, you know what I mean? That would be helpful if we all knew by X date, they got to get it all out to a certain percentage. But yeah, that's what I heard the other day from
what if I told you
these weird podcasts I've been listening to.
What if I told you that we about to have another guest on?
Joey.
Spencer.
Joe,
I remember when I first saw.
Who'd you say?
He was on the docket, so y'all should have known this.
I didn't hear who you said.
Look at Mario like who?
I didn't hear who you said.
He got rescheduled to today.
I didn't hear who he said at all.
Joey,
What'd you say?
I said Joey Espensador.
Got you.
Joey Spencer.
Yeah, he was scheduled for last Tuesday. No, this past Tuesday, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Let's get the young prospect on.
We rescheduled him, so we'll see.
Call you Sketch.
Sketchy Ledge.
10-0.
0-10.
7 KOs.
Oh, that was Ron G's boy.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
He loved him some Joey Spencer.
Yeah, he was up there with Virgil. I think. I think he's training with his pops now. I forget.
We about to find out.
You right.
You were gone, Doomy, when or you were in the bathroom when I asked the question and Albert Bell he put it like this. He said we asked him about the Roy Jones and being in training with somebody for like 2 months locked down as opposed to a training camp. And this is how he put it, and I'm gonna steal it. He said that's like the teacher giving you homework that you could take home versus you going home with the teacher. Bro, that's the best like analogy. Like, and it's so simple, and it was like right there, and yet, whoa, that's exactly what it's like. You know
that's what he got.
Exactly.
He has a home tutor. That's basically what he got is a home tutor, man. And again, like everything that he's given him, it's got to be Eubank's mind to be able to apply it and all that. It's just he has to show more discipline in the ring instead of showing wild punches. He got to set up his punches. He got good power, good swings. He just got to set them up.
Yo, as a fighter and a trainer, since you've worn both hats, do you think that it could add a little pressure to Eubank where it's like, yo, if I couldn't get it done with this much tutelage and this much preparation and this much, overall just knowledge being dropped on me, like, could I ever get it done? Like, you think that there's that kind of pressure on you?
Mentally as a fighter, you got to get outside of that. That can rub off on you that way. When you're thinking about the fight, even fight day, all this stuff goes through. Like, did everything I do work? All that stuff is a mental battle that you're fighting as a fighter, all the way up leading into the fight until you step in and the first punch gets launched. Then it's like it's animal instinct, reaction mode. So you think about these things, but it's your job to put them all aside and just go in there and just apply. That's why I love the way Reynoso trains. And a lot of fighters train like this. Everything's repetition, but he has specific combinations. You know what I'm saying? Especially for Canelo, specific things he does with him, and these things just they explode in the ring when Canelo throws these combinations. It's just that muscle memory. Muscle memory is very important. So if he has, a lot of muscle memory, a lot of training, and he has the tutelage, he got the teaching. What was that?
It's funny that you say that too, because I remember being covering a fight at the state. I better not give too many details about this. And there was a fighter getting ready to fight, right? And it was a pretty high showcase fight. And I remember I was back there, right? Because when you're back there, like you gotta like play like a fly on the wall a little bit, right? So they kind of forgot I was there a little bit. I had already gotten some interviews in, and he was about to fight. Yo, he said something like, "Oh man, this girl keeps calling her." He said something like that, and the guy's friend basically looked over and said, "Oh, bro, like he's just looking for an excuse for after the fight." Yo, they almost got into a fist fight right then and there about it. But it's funny because it was like one of those things where when a fighter loses, they tend to have those excuses. And when you're put into a position where you don't have any excuses, it's like you're forced to look within. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, your answer kind of just made me reflect on that a little bit. But it's tough, bro.
I like that forced to look within. Like that's what I'm going through right now. I'm just forced to look within. You know what I'm saying?
Champ.
So
that's deep.
I got that was
like
deep.
That, though.
I got a story. I was at a camp, high profile camp. Of course, with the boxing voice. That's the only way I could get, behind the stanchions. I might have been with Doomy and Ness at the same time. Like we used to roll a lot like that. And there was some sparring and we was allowed to view. And I'm not gonna say the name of the high profile fighter, but he was getting his ass whooped, bro. That I was like scared for him for the fight he was about to take. But he won. I'm not gonna say his name, but I was like, damn, that shit is not looking good. Unexpected. So, that's why when you were like sparring, I'm like, damn, but some sparring is a real fight. You know what I'm saying? It's a look within with everything that was given to you, and the sparring partner, he wants to get his reputation too. I don't think they go in his ear and be like, yo, hit him lightly, man.
No, you're right. Especially them dudes that travel. Yeah.
No, I don't think. I've never been in a gym where the sparring match when it's like, when you got two guys that are in the same level, same shake. You know what I'm saying? That there's no like hit them soft. Now, I mean, if you're looking at like a big guy working with a smaller guy, then like coaches like go light, do this, do that. But when you sparring and the punches start flying. Nah, they just start flying. Like,
but when Enrique says what he says, it reminds me of like, I mean, look, we've all done this for a while, right? We've all heard the stories of certain gyms that get it in, especially like MMA gyms. Like we've all heard those stories where these dudes, they're playing blood sport. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they're getting it. And so to me,
Kumite.
like that's what it reminds me of, like those stories where you hear like, these dudes weren't stopping at the bell. These dudes weren't listening to these coaches. These dudes weren't working to get better for their opponent they're going to face. They were facing their opponent right there, and they were trying to take that man out. And I've never seen that myself, but I know it does happen for sure. Of course it happens. So that's what Enrique's story kind of made me think about, though.
Yeah, it happens, man. That's why they say keep it in the gym. Don't spill that. That's the code. Follow that, because you can't expose that fighter.
Nah, definitely.
He might be a famous name, and a lot of people want reputation off the name. Like, yo, I gave Floyd a black eye.
Yeah.
I knocked down AJ in sparring.
Yeah. Or Fury, he had stones in his motherfucking glove.
He took all the padding out.
Exposing him. Because he wanted to seem like he killing all his sparring partners.
Like, yo, he's padding out to beat on his sparring partner.
I think he took it to the heart when Wilder said he had pillow fists and shit. He's like, yo, I gotta build my reputation. Like, take padding out this bitch.
Oh man, yo, the only stories I got like that is I could be like, oh man, we went to eat with the Charlos, and yeah, man, I ate them under the table. Like, I had a 16-ounce steak, and they were chilling with their 10-ounce steaks. I mean, they're in fight camp and stuff. I'm still bragging and everything. Oh man.
Damn, I want a steak, man.
Charlo had Whataburger in that episode. Here we go.
Oh, did he?
Is this Joey?
Yeah, this is me.
It's Joey.
Joey, man, what's up, champ? I'm like, I don't think he's gonna be able to get this. How'd you figure it out? What were you doing wrong?
I just clicked the email and it let me in. But so when I was clicking the link through my phone number, it was saying not available. And I also got somewhere in the house with better Wi-Fi. Perfect. So that might be something too. But we're here. We're good now. So
yes.
Already.
Yeah, I'm just
sending
you.
Guys?
Oh, we're good, man. So I guess we're going to go through our staple question before we really open up the interview and basically ask, how are you doing with COVID, and has it affected you personally or in your intermediate family?
So luckily, no, it hasn't affected me too personally, other than the way it's affecting pretty much everybody is, being out of work and the fights not happening and things like that. That's about as personally as it's affected me. Nobody in my immediate family or extended family has gotten the virus, and thankfully for that. And so yeah, we've been just staying safe, staying in the house, and making sure that we do our part. And it hasn't affected us too personally, and I'm thankful for that.
Now that's actually great news.
Yeah.
You don't want to be affected by such a virus. So I guess the next staple question is, what are you doing to stay in boxing shape, and what can and can't you do specifically?
Well, I still have access to my gym that I train at, to our gym that we train at, and so I'm able to keep doing strength and conditioning, keep running, keep doing some boxing work. Obviously, the sparring is a hard, situation right now, just being with everything. You can't really, spar too much. But just being able to stay in the gym and keep, active, staying in strength and conditioning, making sure I'm eating right so I'm not, ballooning up. There's not a lot to do but eat, so you got to really watch that right now, But
definitely.
So that's definitely something, and yeah, we're gonna be in pretty good shape when this thing comes back around and we're able to start fighting again.
So
now this is. Oh, go ahead, Ness. Go ahead.
No, perfect.
Okay, what's going on, Joey? It's Marty Mugia. Listen, I guess this is turning into a staple question too now, but it looks like we're coming back. June, July, dates are setting up. Showtime, PBC, Top Rank, everybody. Have you heard anything? Have you been told, even to suggest like, hey, start getting ready, or hey, start loosening up, or anything, or even a fight specifically, anything?
I've heard possibly July for us. That's what I've heard.
Okay.
So that for me is like, stay ready. That's right around the corner. So that's good news. And I know Top Rank's having fights early as June in Vegas, and so I know that the other promoters and there's going to be other companies, including mine, that are probably going to follow suit. So we just got to stay ready at this point, because we could get the call anytime for a June show or a July show. We just got to be as ready as possible when that call comes.
Joey, what's going on? It's Alex here with you.
What's up, Alex?
What's up, brother? What other, let's get to know Joey a little bit, right? For the listeners that want to get to know you a little bit more, man. You're pretty much an outdoorsman, right?
Yeah.
What kind of things do you like to do out there in the wild, man? I see, I've been on your IG. I follow you.
Yeah.
I see fishing. I see the rifles. I see all that stuff, man. Where does all that stuff go on? What state?
So I'm in Michigan, and that's a lot of that goes on around here, and that's what a lot of guys like me over here like to do, and it's been great for me. People are talking about the isolation and being on lockdown and things like that, but that's what I like to do anyway. So at first it kind of sucked, because you got the weather in Michigan was, at the beginning of all this, it was like freezing rain, and it was still super cold, and you just kind of had to sit inside, and it sucked. But then right when the weather broke, it's like, man, I don't care if this ever, goes back to normal, except for the people, obviously, the virus going away, of course. But I'm talking about, I just get outside, and hunting season, turkey season broke. I was able to get outside and pretty much spend all my time for the last 2 weeks in the woods. And then, it's nice enough to go fish, and I'm, about 5 minutes away from the lake where I fish, and there's just so much open land around here, and, it's good to take advantage of it.
Oh, that's really nice, man. I'm an outdoorsman myself too. I mean, during this time where it's like you can't get out of the house, that's pretty decent.
Yep, absolutely. You just gotta go find a tree and sit on it, huh?
Joey Spence, what's up? It's Enrique Church. Welcome to the show. I'm also an outdoor person, but I'm more urban. Like, I'm like city buildings and biking like that,
Yeah, that's still good.
So I see your record, 10-0. You got 70% KO ratio. When I'm in the gym, when I used to go to boxing gyms, I would see like heavyweights. They would say, their coaches would be like, throw punch like this, like how Lennox, set it up like Lennox, set it up like this. Like, who does your trainer tell you to fight like sometimes, like when you're sparring or hitting a mid, like brace yourself to defend like this, or like who is it that shines in your gym for your weight class and your style?
Me and my dad, we kind of grew up. Well, when I was growing up, me and him were basically putting our heads together since I was a little kid. Because that's kind of how I got into the sport, was just watching the sport with him. And so growing up, there was a lot of different guys who we kind of, you know, patterned the style off of, and then also just learned from, you know, Miguel Cotto, Canelo. I really like to watch Canelo, Andre Ward, you know, Floyd. We love to watch Floyd. You know, there's only so much you can duplicate when it comes to him, but because he's so special. But there are things you can learn from all those guys, and those are just a few of the ones that I watched as a kid. Even Oscar De La Hoya, and those were just, that's like my era when I was growing up, that I, you know, watched the fighters that were active during the time that I was coming up. And so there's all kinds of different guys that we, you know, not try to copy, but definitely learn from.
Right. I like how you said duplicate, because something special, which can't be, because a lot of people say, oh, he's in his corner, he's gonna fight like him, you know, like if for example Floyd Mayweather's in someone's corner, he would not fight like him. So I'm glad you said it. Right. I'm always gonna reference that now.
Yeah. So Joey, you spoke of isolation, and today's topic, we're talking about the 160-pound division and the fact that, you know, Chris Eubank found himself stranded in Las Vegas. He was out there during the COVID when it first hit, and he had his father put in the call to Roy Jones because they had a brief meeting in Vegas during the Kevin Newman fight. You know, he eventually asked Roy, could he come out there, because he was in America to train. You know, he didn't want to go back to London, and Roy said yes. So he's been with Roy for about 2 months now, a little more, and we're just asking ourselves, what benefit does that give a guy like Chris Eubank, you being a fighter? I guess we want your, you know, point of view from that angle. Like, what benefit will you gain from being locked in with Roy in Pensacola, Florida, at a farm where it's just you and him working? And secondly, does that give him some sort of, I guess, advantage, or is that the key element to get the win over a Jermall Charlo?
Well, I think that nothing bad can come from being, you know, locked down with one of the best, you know, ever for an extended period of time. I think, you know, if it was me, just being the fact that, you know, it's really hard. You know, Roy Jones is Roy Jones, and he was athletically different than pretty much anybody we've seen in the past. It might be hard to fight like him, and I've seen a lot of people say, like, oh, it's not going to benefit him. You know, two different people. He's not going to be able to learn how to fight like Roy Jones. But the biggest thing, I think, isn't even the technique in the actual fighting, but it's like the mental, like being around one of the greatest ever, and he can teach you, and just the game that you can pick up in that time, just being around him. You know what I mean? Somebody who's been there before, someone with so much experience. So yeah, he can teach you things inside the ring as well. Don't get me wrong, but I think the biggest benefit is just being around that mindset and the way that he worked, and just sharing his keys to his success. I'm sure he's going to share a lot of it, you know, just being around. And I feel like a guy like that, like Roy, some guys I feel like are more like they don't want to teach the next generation, but Roy's always shown like he wants to teach the next generation, and he'll share whatever he can to the people that come to him for help. So I think it can only benefit him.
Joey, staying on today's topic, we actually just had Albert Bell, who is being mentioned as a possible opponent for Jamel Herring, who was supposed to fight Carl Frampton, but because of the situation, obviously they're, you know, so he's one of the fighters that's on Herring's list. You know, he doesn't know right now if he's going to get it, but the fight was offered to Bell. Now Bell's only, I think, 16-0, if I'm not mistaken, and you know, this is moving a little faster, I think, for him because of COVID. Do you expect to, and I don't want to say move faster because that sounds weird. That sounds like you're not ready or anything, and I don't believe that. What I'm trying to say is, do you think that your career is going to be escalated faster? I guess they're going to bring you to those points quicker because of this. Do you expect that for yourself?
You know, I don't think so. I don't think, you know, anything's going to cause us to rush, but at the same time, you know, as we are ready, as we keep getting ready and more ready, I feel like we did lose, you know, a little bit of time here, you know, and we've been on a pretty pretty good schedule as far as the way that I've been developing, and I've had a lot of good, momentum as far as myself in training camp and getting better and things like that in areas that I need to get better. And so I will, I think, maybe subconsciously be wanting to make up for lost time and get back, that fight or even two at this time that I might have lost, So one of my fights got canceled, and sometimes I would have been back in the ring by now, or at least back in training camp by now already. So, I think, like I said, subconsciously I might be wanting to get that back, and we'll see what happens, because we're not going to do anything to rush or, get into a situation where we're overtraining because we're trying to fit too many fights in or things like that. But we're going to, take it fight by fight at this point and see what we can do by the end of the year.
Joey, at 20 years old, Joey, you're pretty young still. You're still filling in. You still got some growing to do.
Yep.
How's 160 pounds, treating you? How far off do you get on weight? And do you see yourself? I know this is real early, but how high do you see yourself going as far as in weight in this sport?
I don't know. I feel like at some point we're leaving the option open to, when it comes time to fight for the title, and me and my management and things like that, we've always maintained the fact that when it comes time to fight for the championship, that we could look at 154 or 160 and decide, what the best option is. And so I'm not sure even where. I've been campaigning right in the middle, which is 156, for that reason, because they've said, Al Heyman said, stay in the middle, you're going to keep moving up, and when it's time to become a contender, we'll decide, where your body's at, how your body's feeling. If you've grown into the full 160, go to 160, and if not, go down to 154, and that's where we'll campaign. So I think that 168 is probably the highest that I'll get in my career. I couldn't see, just for my height. I mean, you think that, but then you see Canelo go up to 175. So I never expected that. He's only like 5'7". So yeah. I'm 5'9". So who knows? I mean, that kind of, I guess you look at the right opportunities, right? But I could see myself going up to 168 for the right fights.
Yeah, because you look in shape, man. You look like you're a little bulked up in this picture.
Yeah,
you're standing next to the German Shepherd, like.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I've always felt you look, like a very, let's call it, man, what's the right word for it? It's muscular, definitely thick. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so I think you're going to get bigger too. You know,
sure.
You're going to grow into it, because like he said, I mean, 20, like, oh man, you still got like 5-6 years before you hit that real peak. You know what I mean? Like physically speaking.
Right. Yeah, and I definitely feel it. Slowly but surely happening. Growing and just filling out a little bit more. So
absolutely, that's the way to put it. Yes, filling out. That's what I was looking for.
That coming a little bit. Yeah.
Ah, man. So Joey, what do you like? When do you envision world title? 2 years, 3 years? And I'm just saying that so we could kind of have a better indication of what division would be more appealing to you, right? Like, if you're saying this year, then, okay, now we get to say, well, maybe Canelo's still around, but if you're saying 2 years from now, there's no Canelo at 160, does it make more sense to stay at 54 with the names like a Charlo, Harrison, Hurd. Rosario? Like, I'm just trying to see where you would end up being when the time is right. I'm not rushing you at all.
Trying to get the Joey.
It is hard to kind of. It is hard to predict. Just like, I don't know if I'm gonna like hit a growth spurt, not height wise, but just all of a sudden just be like, I can't make the weight. I can't make 154. I'm at 160 now. But what's most appealing to me is 154. I want 154, and I think there's some good fights for me there. I think it's like, there's going to be some naturally made fights there that are going to be really make sense. And, but at the same time, I think that my plan is to be fighting 10 rounders by the end of this year before this all happened. And, so I wanted to be, starting my 21st year as a contender, starting to make it into those contender stages. And my goal was to be, in title contention, at least by the end of my 21st year. And possibly fighting for a title by the time I'm 22. That's just a very realistic, to me, schedule, just with the amount that I've been fighting, things like that. and just the way that I've been, growing in the gym and things like that. I just feel myself becoming more ready. And, with this happening, it might put me a little bit behind schedule, because like we said, we can't rush it to make up for the fights that I've lost. And I need to get the fights to be prepared. I'm getting more around. Every fight is way more experience, and I feel, just a little bit more ready. And we'll see how the division plays out. There's so many loose ends, not loose ends, but like different things happening in the division. J-Rock just lost. I feel like he's still the better guy in the division, even though he lost. I feel like he wasn't at his best in the fight, and I feel like, on his best night, I feel like he's still probably the best guy, him and Charlo. But now Rosario's got the belt. Charlo just beat Harrison, even though, Harrison's one of the best guys in the division. I mean, he was winning the fight until he got stopped, and he won a close, controversial decision the first fight. So I could see that fight having a third fight and seeing who comes out on top of that. But I don't think Charlo is going to give that to him easy. And I think that Charlo and Rosario maybe should fight, and then the winner fight either Harrison and the loser fight Rosario. There's a lot of different things that you can do there. But
absolutely,
there's still a lot of unanswered questions about who's really the top guy there.
Yeah, that's an interesting take on it. You know what it is too, though, and real quick, going back to the question, and you could say you disagree or agree with me, that's fine, but I'm just going to make this statement. I feel like you look at someone, okay, like you have hype with you. Like when you came into boxing, I already knew who you were because everybody was telling me about you. And now it's my job to know, certain people and but you had a lot of momentum, and it's kind of like the Ryan Garcia situation where it's like your appeal is so high that if they market you right and if they sell you right, you could be a bigger fighter than people at 15-0, 16-0. You know what I mean? You already got 40,000 IG. You know what I mean? And that's relative. I mean, how many 10-0 guys have 40,000 on IG? You know what I'm saying? So I think that's part of it too. I think that they got to build you as well because you could be a draw, and you are a draw already, like to a degree.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, I think they see me from the beginning. I've been hearing names like Charlo. I've been hearing names like that since I was 17 turning pro. Like I feel like they've always had they know 154 is a hot division. Why not add another guy to that that 154 stable that could give big name fights. And like you said, they keep building me. They're putting me on big cards for that reason. They're
definitely
putting me on big cards, on big stages.
Super active.
Yeah, you got to stay active. Because
I love that about your career so far.
We're going to be in a situation where in another year or two, it's going to happen really quick. My body's going to be developed, and I'm going to be have the experience to go in there and fight these guys, and it's going to be hot tickets when it does. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, to go along with the marquee name, you're absolutely right.
5 fights per year. That's incredible. That's pretty.
Yeah,
that's
just
pretty
about.
good.
Just
Yeah,
about.
I mean, he blew the Gary Russell story out the water. Though the big deal with Gary Russell was that he got an 8-rounder on HBO when he first started with Al. I mean, Joey's entire career has been television when he started with Al. He's got like the Errol Spence story. But look, we have a bunch of questions from our most loyal listeners, and we would like to get your opinions.
Sounds good.
Let's go to first one looking like Danny Ramirez says, when do you think you'll be ready to fight someone in the top 15? That's a different angle.
Top 15. So that kind of goes back to kind of my timeline. I was thinking top 15 by the end of, probably by the middle of my 21st year, start fighting top 15, by the end, start fighting hopefully top 10, and then early 22 being, ready to fight for that title. If it's my perfect world.
Yeah.
All right. John Feliciano says, Grand Rapids, Michigan here. When you become big time, is there any city in Michigan you'd love to fight in? Grand Rapids, Lansing, or Detroit?
I would like to fight as close to my hometown as possible, which is Linden, and I'm right outside of Flint. And if I could fight at the IMA in Flint, Anthony and Anthony Durrell fought there, and I saw that, and I'm like, that'd be a really good spot to fight, like my first fight home. I've got a pretty good following here in my hometown and in Michigan, so I think that in the next year or so I could sell that out. That could be my first, big event, maybe my first main event. And we've talked to the team about that already, and that's a real possibility. But I'm ready. I mean, we've talked to people, in the early stages of my career at Ford Field, and talking about that'd be crazy to do something one day there. We've got contacts there, and it'd be sweet to fight in Detroit. It'd be sweet to fight anywhere in Michigan, because I've got a lot of love from Michigan. So,
do you think that when you envision yourself main eventing in your hometown, Tony Harrison is still an active fighter? Because that seems like the fight to make in that area.
100%. That'd be sweet, no doubt. I mean, we're both from the area. When I start fighting, who knows where the situation's going to be. He could be the champ by the time I get there. He's that type of fighter. He's, he only lost by getting, taking a shot. Anything can happen. So, but he showed that he's right in there with the top guy in the division, and he might win that title back, and we might have a title fight here in the city. We could do it in Detroit. We could do it, anywhere. But who knows? Who knows how it's going to, or it could be when I start fighting, contenders, and he's still right up there, and I need to fight a fight before I get to the title. It might be that fight. Who knows? Obviously it's a possibility. We're in the same weight class and we're from the same state. So, that'd be a big ticket here in Michigan.
David Maldonado, what's up, champ? Who you pick in a fight between Teofimo Lopez versus Tank Davis?
It's a real good fight. I think that Gervonta in his last fight, I feel like maybe the weight, he's getting so big. I feel like maybe the weight class is getting a little low for him, even though he moved up to 135 in his last fight. You kind of saw, I mean, he looked really good against Gamboa, but also I feel like it might be a situation where you saw him get a little lethargic in the later rounds, and maybe Teofimo could capitalize on that, being that he's more of a natural, lighter guy just a little bit, or maybe stays in a little bit better shape and a little bit more active at this point in his career, and maybe he'll be able to capitalize on that, and we'll have to see. They're both super, super talented. That's a tough fight to call.
All right, let me get to the next one we have from... One second here. It is... James Benitez says, I know you stated before that you don't buy into your own hype, but you are the real deal. All these young champs out here with less than 20 fights. So let's say, how in the top of the division you feel you can knock off easily? I guess he meant to say, who in the top of the division do you feel you can knock off easily?
Like, who's the lowest hanging fruit?
The lowest hanging fruit.
No, but he says...
Think about 150.
But wait. He says, who in the top of the division do you feel you can knock off easily to get you into contention or better yet, exposure? So I guess a fight that's going to give, put you on the map. Like, I actually been thinking Willie Nelson,
that's a good
He gave
fight.
Tony Harrison his first loss, and he hasn't really been that active. So, yeah, they could probably offer him some money, and that's not a bad opponent. He's been in there with a couple of common opponents, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be a great one. Just being that he's fought someone in the top of the division already. Yeah, that'd be great. Thing about 154 is there's not too much low-hanging fruit where it's like, that's an easy fight. There's a lot of killers in 154. So that's why I want to be in the weight class, because I want to be in a weight class where it's like I'm in fights where people are like, I don't know who's going to win that, or they think that I'm going to lose. Those are the fights that are really going to motivate me. And there's a lot of those fights in 154. So, and there's a lot of, Erickson Lubin is right. He lost the fight to Charlo when he was really young, but I think he's going to make his way. I think he's right there after this COVID gets done. I think he's going to break back into the division. And I think that him and Tony Harrison would be a good fight. See who wins that fight. But when I get there, there's going to be a lot of options. I've never really thought too much about who is right before those top guys that could get me to that point. I haven't really thought much about that, to be honest. It's a good question. I'll have to start thinking about that. I just think about whoever they give me until I get to the title, But I got to think more about who is there in front of them,
It's like it's got to be like that right person. Like I obviously this is not the right person for you because he's a bit older and I don't even think he's fighting anymore. But like an Angulo was perfect for a lot of these guys coming up because he had that name. You know what I'm saying? He had that following.
Yeah, but
at the same time he was there to be hit. So
I wouldn't be mad if you fought an Angulo. Honestly, you don't.
I wouldn't either.
You don't have any former world champs on your resume. Like, look, there's people out there that skip. You obviously have. The opportunity and the prerogative to jump like a Lomachenko or like a Chris Colbert, that's up to you. But they've built Canelo based off that. Old former world champions. If you go through his resume, he fought Cotto's brother, Ricky Hatton's brother. He fought Alfonso Gomez. He fought a lot of names before he got to Shane Mosley, who was 40. So
Cintron, I think, right? Maybe
I don't know if he fought Cintron.
No, I don't think he did fight Cintron. But it's fighters like that though.
No,
and those are definitely the guys that.
There's nothing wrong with a former world champion. A former world champion like Angulo has been in the ring with guys, and off the top, no boxer like Rosado, Canelo, Laura. I mean, the names go on and on for Angulo. Cintron. Didn't he fight? No, he did not fight Martinez, right? But he did fight Cintron. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good name. People may say he's a bit spent, but I don't know. It's up to you to get over or, defeat the challenge of a former world champion. And you have to prove to him that he needs to retire, that he doesn't belong. Because, look, these guys still want to fight. You got Tyson out here throwing hands again.
Yeah, for sure.
Joey, I'm gonna bring you into our conversation real quick. I hope Ness doesn't kill me, but he set it up perfectly. And honestly, you're the perfect guy to ask this question. Okay, we were debating Ryan Garcia fighting Rollie. I don't know if you'd seen the news. Mayweather had offered him $200,000 plus a shot at Tank, and the discussion was whether or not it was a duck. Hold on. No.
But
you got to
you're
ask.
setting it up
listen,
wrong.
You got
You're
to
setting
ask
it up wrong.
Abner Mares the way you wanted to.
I'm just saying.
That's what's
you're
set
giving the
stage.
details. No, I don't want to set the details. You're just giving the details wrong. It wasn't $200,000. $200,000 is a bonus, Joey. That's outside the purse. No, because that's an important detail.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I'm sorry. Thank you. It was a $200,000 bonus. Okay, on top of the fight, whatever he gets paid. Plus, he gets a shot at Tank if he beats Rollie. This was my take, and I think you're the perfect person to ask. They're saying the debate is that it's a duck because why not fight Rollie, who is thought to be behind you, and then you get Tank. But that's my whole point, is Ryan Garcia has the kind of appeal where he doesn't need a Rollie to get to Tank. He can fight the Linares of the world, which is pretty much a name that we're talking about for you to fight. With a guy that has that kind of appeal, like you, who can be built up, who can go that route and afford that because you're in a better position than most fighters, let's be honest. Do you think that that's a duck? Do you think that it's unfair to criticize Ryan Garcia to go the route of a Linares because they have this strategy for him to build him up? You know what I'm saying? It'd be the same thing like if you had the opportunity to fight somebody who's in back of you, who's like 3-0, 4-0 right now, and then they say, "Oh, well, you're going to get Canelo if you win, plus 200,000," or they say, "You know what? We have a plan for you to make millions. And you're going to fight former world champions and other guys." Isn't that path just as valuable, if not more, or is it a duck?
Well, I mean, it comes down to the person too, right? I mean, I feel like in Ryan's position, I feel like he's thinking, I'm not giving Rollie the opportunity. I think he feels like Rollie needs me, I don't need him.
Exactly.
And I feel like it's more out of spite that he's not giving him the fight, and it's one way to play it. And I feel like that's what it is. Like considering that, would it be called technically a duck? Yeah, but it's for a different reason than being scared. I think it's for a reason of, screw you. You know what I mean? You made your name off me and I'm not going to let you do it anymore. I'm not saying that. I'm saying Ryan's thinking that and saying that. Rollie's a friend of mine, and I think he did great, coming up and freaking made a name for himself.
Looks good,
the best way anybody has, you know what I mean? And now he's knocking out everybody they're putting in front of him. So props to him. But from Ryan's perspective, I feel like he's just trying to feel like he's got people in his ear that are like, you don't need him. Like you said, we've got you in another way. We're going to put you, in the best fights possible. Don't make this guy rich. I feel like, but if it was me, I feel like that's, if it was me, if I was Ryan, I feel like that might even be to do that out of spite. If that is the case, then I feel like that's bad business. You know what I mean? From me, because I feel like that's, if it was me and I felt like it was a winnable fight, if I felt like it was less dangerous than fighting Linares and make the same amount of money, I'd probably fight him, because, I don't care if a guy made it, made his name or talked a bunch of trash to me. That's personal. But at the end of the day, it's just business. You gotta put business first. And I'd make another guy rich if it made me rich too, and if it was a smart, safe fight for me.
Well, you officially gave Mr. Nestor Gibbs the win there. That's a debate we've been having.
No, that's Joey though.
And I was just gonna say that you did it totally wrong. First of all, Joey is not in Ryan's position. Ryan is like 20
I didn't see that.
and 0.
I said he's. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, Ryan is 20-0, and Ryan is on social media every day talking about a champion. Yeah. Joey isn't talking about any of the champions. Ryan is on his social media saying, I can beat Tank. Tank don't want to fight me. I want to fight this one. So you have to remember that he does not have a direct shot at Tank. Tank is the biggest fight at 135. Not Lomachenko, right? Not Teofimo. Tank is the biggest fight at 135. If you are getting a direct route to Tank via Mayweather, now this is the true question, Joey. If you were in Ryan's skin, what is the bigger fight to you? Jorge Linares, 3-time champ, or fighting Rollie for a bonus outside of your purse with the option for a title fight with Gervonta that's obviously pay-per-view? No one is assuming that after Gervonta fights Leo, he's not going to continue to fight pay-per-view, much less with a Ryan Garcia that's 6 million followers. That being said, isn't the bigger promotion with Mayweather versus who is Linares again?
Right, that's true. Well, here's the thing about it. It's like, if you're talking about real, like a fight where it's going to go on your legacy, and one day only real boxing fans, real boxing people are going to know, like, oh, you beat a good fighter right there, a 3-time champ, this and that, then Linares is the route to take. Unless, you've got the shot at Gervonta after you win that fight. But if the fight is like the here and now, the hype of it, the promotion, the social media, you're going to get all that with Rollie. And that's the route that I feel like I would take with a guaranteed contract that Gervonta is going to be next. But the problem is Ryan doesn't want to feel like, and Ryan's people don't want to feel like they're giving up control, because exactly. they're taking Floyd's deal, they're taking Floyd's promises and things like that. They're like, we're on top here, not Rollie. You know what I mean? Like, that's their side of it. That's what
You're
they feel.
Absolutely right. And I just want to. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm so sorry.
No, I was just saying that's just the route they're taking. They don't want to give up control or look like they're like, okay, they're giving an ultimatum, and they don't want to take it, basically.
Well said. Yeah, listen, and I just want to clear this up, because I feel like I got kind of put into a box here. I didn't mean that y'all are in similar situations in that sense. What I meant is that you have an appeal that is marketable and on a certain path. Like I'm not saying you're not going to have to work hard. You're obviously going to have to work hard, but there's a clear path to success for you. You're a marketable guy, and they believe in you. And that's all I'm saying with Ryan Garcia is that they believe in him, and he has a marketable path. So in that way, you're similar. That's the only way I was speaking.
I believe. Yeah,
it's still up to the fighter, man. Because if Joey was out here saying that, I could beat Rosario right now, and let's say Samson says you could beat Rosario right now. Well, let's make Tony Harrison Get through Harrison. Matter of fact, if you beat Harrison, I'm giving you $200,000 bonus plus whatever you've been getting. Get through Harrison. I'll put Rosario on the contract. Joey is the one that's saying he's ready for a champion. That's all I'm saying. Like, you can't say it's not a duck. You asking for all the champions.
That, but the difference is, I would take that for sure. But the difference is that Sam offered. That's Al offering that to me. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, if it was, Mayweather, who and all they've done is talk, trash about me and things like that, and I'm the bigger name, maybe I say, man, no, I'm good. You guys can sit over there because you need me. I don't need you. And Gervonta and Ryan don't even need each other immediately. You know what I mean? They're gonna get each other.
True.
They're gonna.
I
fight.
love the way you put that.
Fight. And it is like Rollie's would be a great fight for Ryan at this point, but they're just not going to give up. This is my
thing, though. This is my thing too. Isn't Rollie a bigger fight, bigger promotion than Francisco Fonseca, Romero, Duno, and I don't know anyone on his resume other than Fonseca, and Gervonta did that first.
Bro, you won.
Sure.
You won. Yeah. He got you.
I know. It's not about winning. It's like, that Mayweather promotion brings so much. Not Mayweather promotions in the traditional sense, because we know he's not the best promoter. But what I mean is him actually doing the promotion the way he did for Gervonta. And they went to the UK for Liam Smith. That Liam Smith fight, not Liam Smith. It was Walsh or something. Liam Walsh.
Yeah. Liam Walsh.
That fight became bigger than what it was. Yes, Mayweather took some heat for talking a little bit too much about himself instead of Tank, but it gave Tank the exposure. Tank's had 2 million followers. It's not on his own. Like, he got a lot of help along the way. The connections with what's this guy's name? Drake, OVO, all that good stuff. But whatever. We got plenty more questions.
The thing is this. It's going to be all this personal stuff. Like I said, that's what's hurting business. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, that'd be a great situation if Oscar and Floyd came together, co-promoted it, did Mayweather Promotions versus Golden Boy, started with Rollie, and then went to Gervonta if Ryan won. Or whoever wins fights Gervonta. That'd be, a great promotion and make a ton of money. And like you said, that fight would be made bigger than what it actually is. And but Ryan's in a position where he's literally going back and forth with the greatest, fighter, like Floyd Mayweather, and a guy that. How is Ryan Garcia going back and forth with
so he's in a win-win anyway.
Exactly.
But I'm saying that's not good for business. You know what I mean? Like now it's personal. Where if it was me and I was in that situation and I'm signed with Golden Boy, I'd be like, all right, how can we make this situation happen? Because this would be big. And,
exactly.
You don't let the personal affect the business.
Ryan feels like he's above it, and Ryan's, I'm not saying anything bad about Ryan at all. I understand where he's coming from. I understand how he feels because he does have such a big name. But it doesn't matter how big you get. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter how many Instagram followers or anything. At the end of the day, you don't want to make enemies with one of the most powerful people in the sport. And at the end of the day, he's kind of putting himself, and I'm sure they'll do business with everybody. But I'm just saying, you see how personal things can get and how egos can get involved and how good fights don't get made because of it, because of egos. I feel like everybody needs to just be working together. And maybe they are behind closed doors because we really don't know. You know what I mean? Maybe they are. Maybe they are saying, let's build this up. And maybe there is no hard feelings. We never really know about that.
Great answer. I'm glad we brought you into the conversation. Go ahead, Ness.
No, I was just going to say that fighter after fighter that we ask, they all take the Mayweather Promotions, right? Like, even though it's not their promoter, they put themselves in the Ryan shoes and they know that Rollie fight becomes bigger because Mayweather's attached. But here's another element that my co-hosts fail to realize. Like, it would be Floyd and Oscar doing Rocky V all over again. Remember, like, Rocky had Tommy Morrison? So it's like now 2 pupils for 2 legends. It's like Oscar's pupil, Floyd's pupil. Like, that's going to be, the media is going to write stories about
it's gonna be crazy.
The younger generations. I mean, I love that, Rocky, but whatever. We got questions for you here. Next one is from Sony Woods in New York City. Says, what's up to the future of boxing? I hope you and your family are doing well during this period of history. Congrats on your PBC Prospect of the Year award. With all the hysteria going on right now, I thought I would ask a fun-filled question to showcase your musical side. Question, are you a fan of the Wu-Tang Clan? And if so, are they worthy of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I got to say, I'm going to get, I've never been like a huge fanatic of the Wu-Tang Clan.
Tell him, yo, speak your mind, Joey. Speak your mind.
But it's not because I've got anything against them. It's not because of that. It's just because that group I've never gotten into. I couldn't even tell you that question, brother. But yeah, sorry I can't answer that question for you because I really don't know.
Yeah, you know, honestly, you're like the second or third person that's come along in your age group that's just said the same thing. Like, I don't have anything good or bad to say about them. They're just not from my time. You know what I mean?
A lot of T-shirts. I'm just not.
Yeah, they sell T-shirts for real.
I'm not the one to ask.
I feel you.
Yeah, man. All right. We got another one from Steven Chicago. Says, thank you for coming on the show. Congrats on being Prospect of the Year. What is the fight you want once boxing begins?
Once boxing begins, I had a fight lined up. Honestly, I forgot the dude's name, but it was going to be a good fight for me. He had, I think, 2 losses and like 10 wins. And it was going to be a good step up. He was another, taller dude that I fought. Like I fought the last fight. He was like 6'1", and I was really looking forward to going in there. And it was a good matchup for me at this point in my career. And I'll announce that fight when it gets back going, because we're going to go back and try to reschedule that fight. That's the one that got canceled. Like I said, I'm going to try to make up for the fight that I lost and fight the same guy that I had scheduled. So that's the fight that I want, is a fight that I had scheduled right before COVID, and it was the one that was scheduled for April 13th, and we prepared a lot for that specific, body type and that guy. So
6-rounder?
I'm looking forward to. It'll probably be an 8-rounder.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. George Foster in the UK says, which current active boxers do you admire the most and why?
Current active boxers. I really admire Errol Spence in the welterweight division. I just feel like he's one of my favorites. He's just very dominant, and even in the Sean Porter fight, that was an extremely close fight. I feel like that showed me a lot, because Sean Porter is such a great fighter, and I love to see how he dealt with the pressure and dealt with that type of opponent. Caleb Plant, he's my favorite active fighter right now. I just think he's super sweet, and I think he's a bad man. And then Canelo, I love watching Canelo. I'm glad that I'm in his era to watch him, and he's still so young, and he's just got started so early. We get to see so much of him. It's cool to see him, fight all these fights. And those are a few. And I love watching Terrence Crawford too.
King Born in New York says, King Born here, hey, Joey, who you think will win the fight between Keith Thurman at 154 and Tony Harrison, 154?
Okay. Who's the first name again? Sorry, I missed that.
Keith Thurman.
Oh, Tony Harrison would probably, dominate that fight.
All right. We got Trey that says, do you think you can make 147?
No, I can't make 147. That's been a thought of ours for a long time. I've just got a little bit too much, I've got the height for it. I could go down and be a good big 147 pounder, but I just 154 is a very hard cut for me. It's a hard cut. I've just got a little bit too much mass.
What's your walk around?
About 170. Yeah, about 170 right
now. Wow, so. Joey.
Yeah.
Spence just said, the other Spence, your Spencer.
Oh, yeah, that's probably what he's up at too, huh?
No, he said he was starting at 182, I think, something like that.
Yeah, and
but he also said that
was 190.
He
also said that was a problem.
He did say it was a problem. He did say it was a mistake, son. He's not going to do it again, but he did it twice. For the Mikey and the Earl and the Porter fight, he lost 35 pounds.
That's crazy. I don't know, but at that point, you're losing weight the whole camp. And that's just not how I do things. I come into camp at a situation where I'll lose maybe 4 pounds, you know what I mean? Just naturally in training camp. Camp, I'll lose like 4 pounds, and because it just comes off, and then the rest you do the week of the fight. And I'm in a situation where I don't have to think about losing weight in training camp. Training camp's just training camp for me. I don't have to lose weight.
Sounds like if you wanted to, you can do it, though.
I could do it.
Because you're not using a dietitian or a nutritionist, nothing right now,
no,
right?
I am.
You are?
Yeah, I actually work with Chris Algieri.
Okay.
Wow. Chris.
We just had him on like 2-3 days ago.
Yeah, he helps me a lot. He helped me a lot in the last camp, and then I've got a couple other. I got a lady named Ashley who was Andre Ward's nutritionist, and I work with her a lot on the nutrition side. Work with Chris a lot on the nutrition side and the weight cutting side. So it is, but I could do it. I lost with the new program that Chris had me using. I could cut to 147. I could, but would I? No, I wouldn't. But
yeah, I would
rephrase. I could do it.
Yeah, wow. I would definitely. I would think it would be a mistake because at some point you're going to be bigger than that. So like, what's the point? You're not going to go for a title at 147.
I don't even know if I'm going to be able to stay at 154. So
exactly.
Even if I could make it to 147, there's no point. I'm going to end up having to move up.
Yo, you're in good hands with Chris. Yo, I was able to pick his brain with just other stuff like powerlifting, and we talked about some other stuff. And yo, he's so smart. So smart. He knows nutrition so well. You're in good hands.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
Victor Banuelo says, what's up, champ? Out of both the Canelo Alvarez versus Jermall Charlo and Terrence Crawford versus Sean Porter fights, who do you believe are the winners and why?
So with the Terrence Crawford, Sean Porter, that's a hard one. You know what I mean? I feel like that's the one that Terrence Crawford could really like go in there and prove that, you know, that would make the Errol Spence fight even bigger if he goes in there and makes easier work, or not that it was easy work for Errol, but I'm saying if he went in there and was able to be a little bit more dominant than Errol was in that fight, then that could make that fight even bigger, and it could make it even more of a blockbuster, and then prove himself a little bit more. But Sean Porter is not going to be an easy fight for anybody, and he might even win that fight. You know, Sean is a handful for anybody. But what was the second fight?
Charlo Andre?
Canelo.
Oh no, Canelo versus Charlo.
Yeah, Canelo fight. I think Canelo takes that fight. I think he's just a little bit too crafty at this point. But I think Charlo's also getting better, so it could be a good fight for him. And Canelo is still young, so it could be a good fight a year or two down the line. But everyone who says that Canelo is ducking Charlo, I just think that he's better than Charlo. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's got so many options. Like, I think he's going to win the fight anyway. You know, at this point, at least, I think he's just a little bit better. I just think that, you know, he's going to win that fight.
Yo, they're going to think I set this up on purpose. It's like we have all the same, all the same answers, bro. I've been telling these guys, man. We got Big Casual says, who can you see yourself fighting in the future for a big super fight?
Big super fight? Hopefully, you know, it's too bad. I've always said Canelo is my dream fight, but it looks like he's going to be at 168. He's getting big. You can see it on his Instagram and things like that. He's getting big. And I don't know if he'll be at 160 by the time that I'm ready to fight. But who knows? Maybe we could make a super fight at 168 before he's done. But that's my dream fight, the big headline pay-per-view, you know, seeing my poster up there next to him. That'd be the dream right there.
Matty Ice says, what up, champ? No question. Just wanted to say I'm a big fan, and from what I've seen, you look like a beast in the ring. Can't wait to see what's next.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
We got Rel in Detroit says, Joey, I think you're a great fighter. Proud that you're representing Michigan. Dirty glove. Yeah. I think it would be great if you, Tony Harris, and Clarissa Shields, and Anthony Durrell share the card together. Next fight, use the feint and go back. Use the feint and go into attack mode. You're elite. Hashtags blessings, champ.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm always represent Michigan, and in most of the things that I do, I'm always bringing up Michigan. So I would definitely love. It would be a dream to fight on the card with all those people. I've had there's been certain people in an arena. The same one that I was talking about, IMA was starting to reach out to different people like me and Clarissa and the Durrells to put together a card. I don't know if Harrison was involved in that, but they were reaching out to us to hopefully put together a card one day. So, but we're just with different, you know, Clarissa's with different people than us, but we could probably set that up and it'd be awesome. We definitely could do it if Anthony came back to Flint for one more fight. I'll definitely probably be on that card, and it'll be a big deal.
This one, I don't know, because you kind of said you'd rather go to 54. He says, what's good, champ? How does a fight with Matt Korobov or Rob Brandt sound post-COVID? So that's like quickly.
They're 160s?
Yeah, both.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't even know who those dudes are. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. You know, I maybe just because they're at 160, I'm more paying attention to 154. I'm not really looking at 160 too closely, like the prospects or even the contenders in that weight class, because I'm not really, you know, my wheels aren't turning on that weight. But yeah, I'm not familiar with those guys.
All right, so I thought we were not gonna thought we were gonna stay away from this. Prince of Power, what up, Joey? What type of backlash have you received after exposing the big time cheating with the glove?
No back. I mean, I don't know. I had a couple like hate pages and YouTube pages that were kind of crazy come out and try to, you know, I don't know, get at me, but no real backlash. I mean, I don't really, you know, pay attention to it. I just felt that certain way about, you know, the gloves, and I had some experience with it, so I brought it up. You know, nothing really more to it. I got a lot of praise for it, which surprised me. I didn't really expect to get so much, like, you know, so many people to jump behind me on it, and a lot of, you know, fighters and things like that. And but I was just saying what I, you know, felt, and I had some experience, so I brought it up. You know, I'm always kind of the guy to just say what I feel in the situation. So it probably got more praise than backlash, but I definitely did get backlash from it.
All right, we got J-Mac says, speaking of the dirty gloves, what do you think of Fury gloves in the Wilder rematch?
You know, I think that it's been brought up so much. I feel like it's going to be forced to be paid attention to. It's going to be a big topic in the next fight, I feel like. Because there definitely was, you know, whether it was, you know, I've come out and said that I felt, and I've been in situations where I've seen it taught, you know, to put on, you know, pairs of gloves like that, to be thrown with more of the bare fist. But even if it wasn't intentional, there was definitely, the glove wasn't tight enough. So I feel like the ref's going to be forced to be in a position to make sure that it's tight enough. And it's going to be, I don't feel like any ref's going to be able to overlook it now, with everybody having such a laser eye onto it.
All right, we got The Earthquake says, Joey, thanks for coming on the show. Feels like we've been able to witness your career from the start on PBC. My question is, what has been the most valuable lesson you've learned in the ring so far?
Yeah, the Akeem Black fight is definitely the best lesson that I've been able to learn. Just that I can never get comfortable. You know what I mean? That you can never get comfortable. I was in a fight that I thought I was going to get a guy out of there in 2-3 rounds, and I felt like I got a little bit complacent. And that was early in my career, something that I've been very thankful for since. I was able to, you know, come out of that victorious, and I was in a situation where it kept me from now on. That's like my motivation to make sure that I stay sharp at all times. You know, it doesn't matter what a guy's record looks like. It doesn't matter what a guy, you know, brings to the table on paper. You got to be ready, because everyone's going to come in on their biggest stage ever. You know what I mean? I've been fighting on this, these TV, you know, national TV events since the beginning. I'm starting to get a little bit more used to it, but every guy that I fight is going to bring their best, because it's their big shot. So I got to always remember that. So that's a big lesson for me. And that was a great fight. You know, something that I had to dig deep and come out stronger for.
How soon are you away from a fight with the likes of a Shane Mosley Jr., Luis Arias, or a hot prospect like Nikita Abba-Ali fighting? A win against one of those names will catapult you up the rankings.
Yeah, the Nikita fight, I feel like, isn't going to happen for a while. We're just both young. I'm even probably a little further along than he is, even though he's a little older than me. And then, because he turned pro later. And the Shane Mosley Jr., I felt like that whole contender show, I felt like I could have won that show. Like, I really did. And that was at 160. I was like, I feel like I could win that if I fought in that. I really did. And so I would fight, you know, even though that's at 160, I'm probably going to be at 154. I would fight Shane Mosley Jr. for
Nah,
sure.
I think Mosley said he was coming down too. We just had him on the show. Didn't he just say they were trying to come down too, Mario? I think we asked him.
That's a fight, like you said, like Canelo fought the Hatton's brother and all that stuff. That's a fight that I would definitely take. If he was coming down to 154, be a good fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, Joey, that is all our questions. Want to thank you, obviously, for taking out the time to come on the show, talk a little bit of boxing, keep us updated with you, and we want to make it something more regularly. Sounds like maybe we should be calling you back beginning of June. Maybe not. Maybe end of May, right? You got to get an eight. Do you think that we'll still have normal promotions? Obviously, we won't have face-to-face face-offs and things like that, but, like, will you guys
be allotted the training camp time that you're normally allotted?
No, well,
right?
I mean, obviously they got that. It's up to them to train. I mean, more the promotion. Like, are we going to get a press conference to announce the fight?
Oh, good point. Good point.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably not off the bat. They already have to go through so many procedures to have everybody in the same place for the fight.
Well,
So,
they
like,
do
certain
something
fight
virtual.
Zoom.
Oh yeah,
Zoom press conference.
We might see some crazy things like online. PBC might go live with the announcer and all the fighters and have the two opponents on at different times and talk to them about the fight. I feel like that's going to be the way things happen for a while. It's not a bad option. It's a good thing we have technology like we do nowadays to be able to make up for all this craziness. And
hey, well, you know how this works now, right? So if they need an idea, you could just tell them, hey, we could go on the Boxing Voice and do the presser.
yeah.
So,
good.
Joey, man, once again, just want to thank you. If you can, please give out any social media for anybody crazy enough not to be following you can do so. And, yeah, man, we look to get you back.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. And follow me on Instagram at Joey D. Spencer and Twitter at JSNation_.
All right. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, champ, man.
Joey Spence, the champ, on with us. And we want to thank everybody that tuned in, obviously. So, yeah. So where are we going now with this? Final thoughts, I guess, on Roy Jones, key element for Eubank win? Or is Charlo too much?
I think that we can't fully say that this remedy here or this new look for Bank is gonna get him over the top for Charlo. But just like Andy Ruiz and Reynoso, only good could come from this. So I think that you'll be seeing some new wrinkles in Chris Eubanks' game, but still got to prove it in combat. And that in between fight might be necessary.
I like the way you put that. Might be some new wrinkles to his game that cause others to definitely those that think they have a beat on Eubank and his style and his approach and what he brings may be slightly off at this point. It could go that route. Ultimately, do I think that this is what's going to this doesn't do enough for me to not pick Charlo still. I'm still picking Charlo, but I'm absolutely into this. I'm absolutely interested, and I absolutely think that there is something here. I think that depending on how successful they can be, Roy and Eubank, specifically coming right out of, the pandemic and post-virus, right? I think that it could shape the way that, trainers approach fighters from here on out. It might not have that big of effect right away, but it could affect the next person and then that person. And it's just a domino effect. And, if it does end up working out, we could be seeing a lot of this, specifically during this time where the best route for fighters and trainers and sparring partners and camps alike is to really stay as close and tight knit as possible to not risk, catching the virus in other ways and stuff. So, you know what I mean? And exposing the rest of their team. So, again, do I think it's enough to beat Charlo? Whoa. Do I think it's enough to beat Charlo? No, but I am very, very, my interest is vested. It's a vested interest, yes, because this could be something cool. And real quick, as far as Joey's concerned, I'm glad that he said no rush. I'm glad that, because I think there are some fighters like an Albert Bell, this will definitely help them. And this is something that they are, looking forward to and ultimately may need, this extra push because of these times. Joey Spencer is not one of those guys. Joey Spencer is on a very clear route. If you weren't familiar with him before today, you're going to be familiar with him very quickly. He has a ton of hype behind him, and they love him over there at PBC. They absolutely love him, and they think that he's got the goods, and he's definitely marketable.
All right, well, let's go ahead and open up these phone lines and get to the callers. Yeah, man. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, and if you're doing that, don't forget that notification bell so you get notified every time we go live, because we bring you fantastic interviews on a daily basis, and you don't want to miss any of those. So let me head on out to those sponsors.
These calls are brought to you by El Camino Electrical Services, experts in electric vehicle charging stations. For consultations and turnkey installation, visit us at elcaminoelectricalservices.com.
Yo, real quick, Blog Talk's you're not on there.
No.
Okay, just making sure.
Going out to Info Joe. What up, champ?
Info Joe on the show.
What up, Doomy?
What up, champ?
What up?
What up, Ness? Morning, Mario. Good Friday
Morning,
to everybody listening, man. Everybody have a blessed, no stress day. Yo, Ness, I did check out Jermall Charlo's episode when he went to go help build his grandmama a house, man. That was pretty good look. And again, you get a lot of insight on insight of him, man, and his character and everything, man. He come off as a good brother, man. That was a good look. He need to do more. I'm glad he taking this opportunity during this downtime in boxing, man, to market himself, man. That was a good move. I seen the interview on Fight Hype, man, with Jason Rosario, man, the Dominican kid, man, and he said he want to fight Jermall now. He will fight him next. And he don't need an audience. So, and I see Jermall had fired back, said he with it, man. I wouldn't mind saying that first fight back, man. They said he don't need no tune-ups, no nothing. This is Jason. He said he was ready, Freddy. So I would like that over the Eubank spot.
Izzy, Oklahoma.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
What up? Morning.
Hey, Mario, quit selling that story about your boy, the social media king. A duck is a duck. We're not talking about TikTok. We're talking about the ring. Missing the Untitled show. I heard your lights are off without electricity. I'm sorry, man. I'll up my Patreon if need be. Or better yet, I'll get you a Charlo-style mobile home. I'll pay cash. I'll need a deposit, scrub them floors, and keep up with that trailer trash. I'll accept my loss, but J&J waiting on the next time we meet. Check Enrique's shirt. I'll bury you in 3 rounds. I'll make sure it's at least 6 feet.
Bruh,
he coming on
my
him.
manager.
Yo.
How you letting this dude come and attack me at
Nah,
the presser?
listen,
bro?
all he's doing is building up the rematch for Saturday. That's all he's doing.
He's straight clubber lane.
That's all he's doing.
Bro.
That's all he's doing. Listen,
Mario, where was Mick?
Listen. No,
Yo, he just gave my girl a heart attack.
What did Leonard Ellerby say today? That people made Marcos Maidana versus Floyd Mayweather 1 out to be a lot closer than it was. Just like you and I know that this fight wasn't close, and we just taking his easy money on Saturday, dog. So we gotta let him do his job. He gotta promote.
I got you, man. He just came at the throat. Yo, that trailer trash line.
He took me up to the top, and then I thought I was gonna fall, and then he just kept going up.
He did murder that because he added something from the show today too.
Here's the thing, though: did he bust his nut in training camp? You know what I'm saying? Did he blow his load in training camp?
Blow his load. He overtrained.
I don't know if he overtrained there. You know what I'm saying? He should have held back a little bit. That's all I'm saying. You know,
listen. He wasn't calculated, man. He just was throwing punches. You know, he tried though. He shot his shot.
I'm not gonna lie. It definitely made me feel some type of way. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, man,
Yo,
you
too sensitive at the Charlo press.
How many people call out Canelo and Floyd? You're too sensitive. You can't call yourself Money May Munguia and then be worrying about every call out. Remember what Jay-Z said, man? You only get half a ball.
Yeah, but that's not intrigue, begging for a fight. That's the man that I shared the ring with, that some people actually felt like that with Izzy.
No, I you said something else, sir. I'm like,
I said,
what?
what I'm saying is this is an intrigue calling in, trying to
No,
talk
I mean,
himself
you got
into a
me.
fight.
You got
You know what
me
I'm
intrigued, but you keep losing me when you say this isn't who. Who are you talking? I mean, like, I'm lost.
Oh yeah.
How can I be intrigued and lost at the same time? But that's what you're doing. You're confusing me.
Well, you know what? My bad. I don't even think I'm saying that name right. I forgot who. I don't even know who that is. My bad.
You mean that guy from Atlanta? That guy who will remain nameless?
There ain't no way there's no way he's from Atlanta. I know people that rap from Atlanta, and
they don't sound like that.
They don't sound like him, man.
I mean, I don't even remember I don't think I ever heard him rap, to be honest with you.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I know people from Atlanta that rap, and he doesn't, so he's clearly not from Atlanta.
Not from that circle. CYP.
What up, Israel? You got to stop doing that, man. My man beat you fair and square, and you calling in, hitting him with that trash line. Like, that was clever. That's one thing I can say. You a clever dude, man. You a clever dude. I give you that. I'm really not that impressed, though, because you did take that L. Now, secondly, I see that Israel loved to lie on me and tell people I don't pay my debt, but I sent the files because y'all know CYP keeps the files. That's what I do. And if Ness want to read it to y'all, that's fine. But I pay my debts. I ain't no coward. Wilder lost. I owe 3 people. I paid them all. That's how it works. But don't go bragging too much, because I asked all of y'all if y'all want to bet, and none of y'all had the courage to put it in Fury. So stop all that bragging like you really, really, really believe in that man. Anyway, good show, good interview. Joey being from Detroit, I think so. No wonder he don't like Charlo, but Charlo don't know you. You're 20. Good luck to you in your career, man. CYP out.
Yeah, that's why I didn't ask you a question, Champ, because you were confused. He didn't say he didn't know Charlo. He said he didn't know who Korobov or it was, would you fight Korobov?
The guys that
Robert
Charlo
Brandt.
fought.
He said no, it wasn't. No. He said, "Would you fight Korobov or Robert Brandt post COVID?" And he was like, "Yo, no disrespect, I don't even know who Korobov or the other guy is." And I was gonna be like, "Yo, Robert Brandt is world champion. He fought Murata," and remind him. But at the same time, we were pressed for time. And CYP misunderstood, thinking he said, "I don't even know who Charlo is," and obviously
No. But some people because I don't know if y'all saw the tweet texts in the pre-pro. Some people took that like they thought he was saying like, "Oh, I don't know his opponents. He ain't fought nobody." Like some people took it that way, which I don't know how they did. But
yeah, nah,
he didn't say nothing like that.
Yeah, nah, he definitely misunderstood what he said. He did not say he doesn't know Charlo. He specifically said he doesn't know Korobov or Robert Brandt.
Everybody know Charlie, one of the top fighters, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he made it clear when he talked about Canelo Charlo. You know, he just said that he doesn't think it's a duck from Canelo.
But that could also be it. Maybe CYP's just in his feelings because he didn't pick him because someone else.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
would Canelo beat Charlo?
Yeah, people in the chat are they were like, oh well, he like that's disrespectful. Like they thought that he was talking down on Charlo's resume, but I don't think that's what he was saying at all.
Yeah. All right, Steve in Chicago, what up?
Yeah. Hey, good morning, fellas. How you guys doing?
Oh,
doing well. Good to hear from you, Steve.
Hey, Eubank, I would have liked to seen him against Korobov. We didn't really get to see a full fight. So I like the fight with Charlo. Obviously, I'm going with Charlo, but I do like the fight. It's hard to say what the new trainer will do for Eubank. We don't know. His Charlo, like you said, he's been with his trainer, and now this is a new trainer for you. So I know it's Roy, but we just don't know. But it's an interesting fight. But man, as you've been irking me with this Rollie thing, man, what Rollie's last fight wasn't even televised, and Ryan was a main event, and Rollie, this is Floyd like saying it to TMZ. He don't reach out to Oscar. Them two don't even talk, man. You've been running with this thing. I don't know what you're doing, man. This thing.
Hey, all he got to do is fight him. Like Listen, they giving you $200,000 bonus, plus you get the Floyd Mayweather promotion. If he's 11-0 and he ain't got nothing on you, chop that block. Chop that block. Why not? Like, come on, man. We talk about people making their own lanes all the time. This is like a blessing from the boxing gods. You get a promotion with Floyd. You know the crap Oscar and Floyd will be talking about each other in the media on the build-up? Like, I don't think you guys understand how big that would be.
You think back in the 90s or, back in the day, it would have been like some offer like that. Those guys would have taken it as to like the model type.
Listen, I'm sure those offers are out there. Look, Troy just put us on game and we seen it. Lennox Lewis. He was the last undisputed champ. Even he took step aside. So like, we got Trey in the Bay Boomerang.
Trey in the Bay.
Just listening, we got Stonebone Boxing. Talk to me.
Hey, man, we can't keep acting like $200,000 ain't a big bonus when he did a Gloria Allred or one of the women accuser type press conferences to call out Oscar De La Hoya about trying to get some money. So we can't keep acting like he's just already paid. Ryan, that's a big opportunity. Sometimes you gotta look at what's in front of you. But we need to ask Floyd, is this a Showtime fight or is he willing to send Rollie to the zone? What is the outcome of that? Is he gonna send Rollie to the zone and then Tank be on Showtime? That's something you gotta figure out. And I like Eubank, and I'm listen, we talking about wrinkles and new wrinkles. Is this the Iron Man Charlo? Because if this that Charlo, and he come in there with the wrinkles of holding his hands down like Roy, he would get starched and creased. That's gonna be what happened to him. He better keep his hands up and learn from Roy intelligence, not his style. I always wonder why people don't try to learn the good things from you. They try to take everything from you. Roy always had his hands down. You go in there with your hands down, and that's the wrinkle you got, you're going to be earned out flatline. And good interview with Joey, man. I like the young energy, young, smart dude, bright dude. And shout out to Albert Bell, man. Ramadan Kareem, my guy. Hope you making it through.
Sony, what up? All right. Well, next GTO, Instagram, and Twitter. Catch us on the next one. Yeah, man, we got some stuff planned, so definitely stick around. And
real quick,
we'll be back. We got a super chat. You got that?
Go. Yeah, I was gonna go ahead and do it. DBX, Izzy with the straight off guard heat yet again. Triple laughing emoji. Izzy stays busy. Every call is practice hours. Salute to the Patreons. Y'all hear me?
All right. Let me see here what we got going on. Did we miss anybody? Yup, we got. Looks like Brandon in Cincinnati said Joey Spencer versus Jamonte Clark would be a good one. And looks like we got Mr. Sims joining us. What up, champ?
What up? Good morning to everybody. Say my piece. I actually agree with Stonebone. I think mentally that's where Eubank should be pulling from Roy. I don't think style-wise it matches very good with him because Eubank issues his footwork, defense, and fluidness. And in order to utilize Roy, you got to maximize him via athleticism. So I just think kind of like Ruiz, he'd be better paired with like a Derek James or somebody like that where he can learn how to turn his punches over sit and kind of move coming forward versus trying to get on his toes because that's not really his style. And also, I don't think just because you switch trainers, you need a tune-up fight. You can go right into a big fight, i.e. Tyson. Jermall did that with Joseum Alcine and then Julian Jackson. And then Tank also did it as well when he switched trainers for a fight. So you don't have to do a tune-up just because you switch trainers. And before I go, Ness, let me ask you this question. It's kind of off topic, but I still want to ask it. Everybody keeps saying Canelo has options and why Charlo don't deserve the fight right away. But say Charlo and his trainer called you and said, we paying you to market the Canelo fight, get us the fight. What argument are you making why Charlo deserved the fight next versus all the other options that Canelo has? And that's my call.
There ain't no deserve unless you want to go the technicality route of he should have gotten it because he was the mandatory. Like, that's the only route you can go, and we already know that doesn't mean anything because when Gennady was the mandatory, Canelo threw his belt right back at the WBC. So like, you don't push Canelo.
That's
and
the level.
There's nothing there, bro. There's nothing there to say. Even if they paid me, that's what I'm saying. Like, what sane thing could I say? Yo, Jermall deserves it next. Outside of the WBC route, that's my only argument. That's my only. Like, what else is left?
Mandatory.
No, that was it. That's the argument, WBC. He used to be the mandatory to Canelo. Canelo didn't fight him. They made him franchise, and they elevated Charlo. It's over. There's no more connection to Canelo other than him picking you and you wanting him. He's not even at 160. Last time he fought 160 was versus Jacobs. Since then, he fought at 175.
There we go.
There's really no argument. I'm sorry. I wish there was. I would love to make one, but especially for a check. Mario, how do you argue for a check, right? Golden Boy, no. PBC going to pay us to promote Charlo and say he deserves to be next regardless of who Canelo picks. How do we argue that?
I don't think you do. I mean, how
not like, argue, but how do we back it? How do we back it? Like, how do we say, yeah, that's right, Charlo does deserve it? I'm 100% behind that.
I mean, again, I don't think. Listen, the way we come across things or the way we do things, we tend to go back to the whole attorney thing. You know what I mean? Defense and the advocate. Prosecutor, right? And in this case, I'm sorry, I don't have any. All I have is eyewitness testimony, and that's never the best kind of testimony. You know what I'm saying? But I don't have any forensics or I don't have any hard evidence that says this is what should happen or Charlo deserves this or deserves that. Like, I just don't. I mean, do I want to see the fight? Absolutely.
We've gotten hits. We've gotten hits from Eddie.
I want to see the fight. I do. But it's like, is it a duck type of thing? No, come on.
Eddie hinted at it.
Charlo got to do something nice, man, to get that attention.
Real quick, super chat, Mr. 704. Salute to all my TBV champions. Support us on Patreon. Even if we back on YouTube, it's about support.
Well, thank you for
that. Thank you, Mr. 704. And if you're listening,
you still get a bunch of extras on Patreon. Obviously, you're getting like 5-6 shows a day. I mean, a week.
Plus, Untitled film study Tuesdays. Right. We're also in the works of developing another show or another, segment style type of thing. And freestyle Saturday. I forgot what we call it.
In the booth with TBV.
In the booth with TBV.
Damn, that sounds nice.
Which includes me and my man Do Me. Because we the best. And are we about to get a verse from Ness?
Oh,
tune in.
Don't let Ness come out with the reggaeton bars.
Nah, negatory.
Rapping in Spanish.
It's over. He gonna come out on Noel on y'all. Y'all gonna be like, what?
It's over, man. Ness GTO, Instagram and Twitter. Catch us on the next one. Peace.
Alex_Doomsday_LAINEZ on IG and TikTok. Catch me on Twitter. Alex Linus TBV.
At Maury Mugia on Twitter. At Maury Mugia on Instagram. And stay tuned because we might have something for you. We might have another something for you. You never know. That's why you got to have them notifications on.
Hit that
so that you can know
bell
when we're coming. Because I promise you're gonna miss the guests because we're doing spontaneous guests it seems like daily now.
Joel Diaz hit me up talking about, I'm sorry guys, I hate to have left you hanging. I was in the gym.
And if you're not on Patreon, then you don't know the guests that we have scheduled that we have coming up, because if you were on Patreon, then you would be able to ask them a question and you would also know who's coming up.
Most of those questions were 7 days ago.
We keep that quiet. We keep that quiet until it's time to promote it. But our Patreons have behind the scenes exclusive access. So, peace.
Yeah, most of those questions were from 7 days ago. Everybody took advantage.
That's right.
True.
That's right.
So
and Untitled too, for those on our YouTube family that haven't checked out the Untitles. I don't know if Ness might be releasing one, maybe
I think have in the past. We have.
Yeah, he did. He released one. I think a couple weeks ago.
Our recent ones.
Yeah.
About 2-3 weeks ago, he released he released one last week.
I think
from
it was
about
the Flat
2-3
Earth,
weeks ago.
the Flat Earth one.
Flat Earth. That's what. That was a good one too.
Yeah, come kick it with us on Untitled, man. Get to know us. We get to know you. We talk about some of the topics that our Patreon family picks out for us, and it gets real crazy at times,
And that's the thing. If you're a Patreon, you dictate it, right?
Yeah, and
they give us the topics.
Yeah, and we're talking about the stuff that you guys want us to talk about.
Exactly.
And then we always go organically into other fields. I mean, we've gone from aliens to. From aliens to a whole bunch of other crazy topics, but it's fun.
We also get personal too. We let y'all in just like y'all let us in. This is a family type of thing. You know what I'm saying? So catch us Mondays.
Can't wait for that TBV appreciation.
Yo, giving quality on the way out says Rollie would beat the hell out of Ryan and take his confidence. That's why the fight will never happen.
Here's the thing. I'm not saying he's wrong either. That was never the point I was making. But I guess if I was making that point, then it would be a duck. But listen, I'm done. You won.
We all
That's
done.